right, it's Thursday, November 3rd at 6:03, and I'm calling the Finance Committee meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the minutes of the meeting from October 6th. Darren, you have to abstain.
Okay.
This was a really long meeting.
Like 3 minutes?
Yeah, the one that I didn't stay for, so does that mean I have to abstain too?
No, you stayed for this one.
Okay.
I just want you to know that I did talk to town council. You don't have to abstain. You only vote when they put the minutes in the record. You're not
Oh, this was the
certifying
really,
they're
really long
perfect.
one.
No, this is a really short one, which is like 3 minutes.
I got you.
So, can you make the motion for me?
I move that we accept the minutes of October 6th as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Lynn?
Winika, aye.
Ted?
Purcell, aye.
Tommy?
Michelle, aye.
Darren?
Aye.
No, abstain.
Abstain.
And you're all vote aye. That's how we do it in this town, correct? If you're not there, you abstain.
Okay.
That's how we've always done it, so. Until I hear differently, we're gonna stick with what everybody else does. Minutes of the meeting is October 27th. This was the joint meeting. This was the long meeting that Ted cut out early. Could I get a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of that long meeting.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Ted?
Purcell, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Ross abstain.
Narwhal, aye. Okay. Next thing is now the fun stuff, which is going through the warrant. Okay. So, since the warrant has been posted, we won't have to read the article. We can just discuss and make our recommendations. Article 1, which is to transfer a sum of 5% of certified free cash to the town's stabilization fund. Currently, what was submitted was $843,000. So that would be a nice chunk of change to go in. Do you want to look at this? Tootsie?
What was 843,000?
Free cash.
It's the
Oh.
estimated
Last-
quantification, 843,000.
So that's a change from,
Last Thursday, it
Last
was
Thursday.
500,000.
Yep.
Is there a reason why that's so high, or so that number is up there?
Not that we're complaining, because we like
I
it.
know.
Right, I'm not
We
complaining,
were
I'm
busy
asking.
bees all weekend and crunched everything together. Last year, we had $1 million, so this is actually down from last year.
Okay, and the properties that were taken and resold, I'm thinking of the one across the street.
Yeah.
Is that money in this
Yes.
year's number, or was in last year's
No,
number?
it's in this year's number, because they didn't close
send us a
until,
copy of this
Right,
one?
because of the
Okay.
title
closing,
issues.
right, title issues.
Yesterday.
So there's about 200,000 in there from that sale. There was, I think we estimate, we carried forward 57,000 from the previous year. We had the 200,000 from that sale, and then like leftover appropriations and over receipts above our thing made up the rest of the difference, so.
what property is that?
The one,
259 Main
the
Street.
one next to Dunkin' Donuts.
Next to Dunkin' Donuts. Okay,
Okay, so the town stabilization, the first 3 articles are the ones in our debt and financial policies that we say we agreed to do the 5%. Just be careful, I don't want to trip.
gotcha. Okay,
5% would be $42,185.
say it again, 40?
$42,185.
Oh, sorry,
But we don't need to count that in because until it's certified,
It's gonna change.
Right,
we're gonna say, we're gonna vote on it as a transfer sum of 5% of
correct.
certified free cash to the town stabilization account.
So you just ready for a motion to do that?
Yes, please.
I move that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
Would I?
Narwhal, aye. Okay. The second article is to transfer a sum of 5% to the capital stabilization fund.
So that'll be an equal amount.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should leave that, well, vote yes right now, but I think that the night of the meeting, so anybody doesn't get any crazy ass ideas, that we add numbers to those and we put more money away in the bank account.
Yeah, I think I think with that number of free cash, I think this capital stabilization fund should be, we probably should put more money in there. Did we do that last year or was the year before?
That was last year.
Last year.
Now,
Did we-
the only thing, and I'm with you on that, and I applauded that last year. We can do that right before the meeting, because we'd want to have certified free cash first.
Right.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm saying I want to leave it open that sometime on or before that meeting.
Yep,
We
I
do
would
that.
say we have the meeting, right, once we get certified free cash, then we'll know, and then we can have that, and then we can speak in real dollars.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article, at least 5%
Second.
to capital stabilization.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, roll call, Lynn.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
You can see.
Roll call there, boss.
Aye, Ross.
Would I?
Narwhal, aye.
Too many things going on, sorry.
Okay.
Amen.
Article 3, to move that the town vote to transfer a sum of 5% of certified free cash to the town's other post-employment benefit trust fund.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
Would I?
No, hold on. Article 4. Now, this one has changed since our meeting as well, because they realized that part of the non-union wage matrix, there were people that are in revolving funds and other funds, so some of the money has changed. I move that the town vote to transfer a sum of $11,413 from certified free cash, transfer a sum of $2,789 from water and sewer retained earnings, and transfer a sum of $15,557 from account number 001-122-5150-000 to the accounts as shown on the handout entitled November 17th, short special town meeting, Article 4, for the purpose of funding step increases and minimum wage adjustments for non-union, non-contracted employees to be effective January 1st, 2023. According to the non-union compensation wage matrix, it has been scaled in response to the increase of the minimum wage to $15 per hour as of January 1st. Don't all speak at once.
No, oh,
What's that account number?
can we?
That is the one that in our budget last year, Ron threw in $15,500. Remember, he said that's what I'm gonna put in my budget so that we have something to build on.
So that was still in there.
That was, we never took that out.
So last Thursday night, what was the numbers that we were working with? Was it $42,000 total?
It was 41,
41.
something, close to 42.
Minus the 15.
For right now, but going forward, if it's 41 times 2
I
is
agree.
82.
I agree.
Yeah, because I got written down, it was 42,157 and 84,4 for the full year.
Yep,
Yeah. So 41 is half the year.
But so that number, from free cash, that number's gonna be less than that.
right, we only have 11,413 from free cash,
What are you reading from?
the motions document that we got. It was
Did
on
you
the
get
one.
the handout?
It's on Tamika's
Sorry.
email.
That's
Yeah,
why we should
it's
have
all there.
handouts.
It's all
That's
there.
what I was looking
It's
for.
all
We can
there.
look at things
Yeah,
and make
she
notes.
sent,
Oh, well.
she sent everything, so,
Oh, I understand that.
When was that sent?
yesterday,
Yesterday.
I was like, I couldn't tell you. I've just
I
gotten
can
to
tell
the
you.
point where I have to read everything on paper. Do you want to see this?
I got it yesterday
I
at
mean,
You
I
can.
just wanna know why,
10:53 a.m.
Oh,
what
look
I
at that one.
was looking at, I thought said it was this, because
So this is still gonna cause the same concern.
Exactly, for going
Yes.
forward, yes.
We're going forward. This is for 6 months, and then we're gonna have to
This will
Figure out-
cause a
somehow
budget
find that money
shortfall.
for a full year.
Yep.
Yep,
Well, that money plus the 41, so the 82 for the full year.
hold on, let me finish.
Right.
So yes,
So,
84, whatever, around 83,
80 grand.
4, 82
80
grand,
grand.
82,000,
Yeah, just-
3,000,
The
40
s-
and 80.
the select board has stated that they would be willing to use ARPA funds if we cannot find any other way to fund it.
That's for one time.
We're doing one time this is all one time.
But then, so, okay. But either way, we gotta find 84,000 next year, in next budget.
Yes. Go ahead.
It's not 84,000. So with the adjustments that we made where we can't add it, we don't add to the revolving funds, it adjusted the whole next year as well. So we've only got 11,000 here, but it's 29,000 in total. If I calculated out, I did two scenarios where if you give, for FY '24, if you do a 2% COLA and increase the steps, or give whoever is not at the top step gets a step, the general fund adjustment would be 38,139. If you just did a 2% COLA, it would be 18,782 to the
And if it
general
was,
fund.
if we did none of that and just took the numbers here, it's the 11 and the 11. 11,413 plus the 11,413 for a full year, if we did nothing else.
Actually, it'd probably be the plus the 15, because we don't
Okay.
have the 15.
So it's the 11 plus the 15.
So,
Double.
so you're
About
saying the
30.
raise and appropriate would be, instead of with 84, it would be 30 something, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
And that's for 6 months or 1 year?
that's the one, that would be FY '24.
So that's what we have to find for the next fiscal year.
That is correct.
Well, that's easier to find, but still not.
So one time for now, when do we find out, or when do we say we want to use some of those opera funds for this instead of free cash? I mean, how do we
So if we
No,
say
do
no.
that
no to
tonight,
this-
or?
No. The ARPA funds
Right?
are only in case we can't find it to fund the 2024 fiscal year.
Yeah.
It's not for ARPA funds now. This is they've placed it as certified free cash.
Unless it gets downvoted, then they'll go probably to try to get it from ARPA.
Well, they've paused everything for ARPA.
How much do we have left in all?
Just under 900,000 or just over 9. It's right around there.
it was about 98.
I was like, it's 9.
980.
9.
The way I look at it is stick with 9 and we get extra, that's good.
Well, I want to be sure that these people, or as everybody would usually say, folks, get those raises, because we've been talking about this for several years now. But I just want to make sure we're okay and we're on firm footing with the numbers. And I have one other question
Go ahead.
that I've asked numerous times in the past several years is, when these numbers get moved up and wherever this wage matrix is, and I didn't read through this to see, because I wasn't going to sit down and spend hours trying to figure it out, but somebody must know the answer. Are there people, or are there going to be employees that will be off the end of the step 5 or step 4 or whatever is in this matrix
Off the stuff.
after they get whatever raise they're going to supposed to get, or adjustment? I shouldn't say raise, adjustment.
Once they hit that top step, they'll just get a COLA. If you, like, year after year, you put a percentage on the whole matrix, like we'll do 2% on the whole matrix. So whoever's at the top step will only get a 2% increase.
Right. But when this happens, nobody's going to be off of that. They're not going to be step 5 and over here. Because in the past, there's been people that have been off the matrix
No,
I've been
everybody,
through-
that's one of the
That's
things
why
that
they
I
had
was
to
like,
step up.
I'm just saying-
we had to make adjustments for people that were on a FY '20 matrix,
Yep.
and there were people that
Yep.
were on the and we were in FY '22, I'm like, okay, we need to adjust, everybody that's non-union is on this matrix, either OAD, MTP,
Okay.
and either at the top, whatever step that they're on, based on their years of service, it's all on this matrix.
I guess I
Nobody-
gotta
there's
say,
nobody like that's,
yep. No, I understand what you're saying.
unless they
Okay.
have a contract or whatever, so they're outside of the,
But I've been through several of these salary surveys and adjustments, and almost always we had people, when that thing was all done, and said, this is the steps, and all of a sudden there were people over here, off the steps, higher than the last thing. That's why I'm asking that
higher than the
question.
last,
Not within the
last
last few
step,
years,
you
probably.
mean?
Yeah, okay.
okay, yeah.
That's, I'm just making sure.
No,
Okay.
everybody's on this matrix.
So,
And I think if you look at this, it shows the rates
Oh,
that
gotta
ties
find
to
my-
every position.
if I double the 11,413, that's 34,000. You double the 15, that's 31. So that means we're now looking for 65. It's better than the 84. That's all we'd be looking for is the 65 next year.
Next year.
Holding everything the same.
That's
FY
still a
24,
person.
yeah, right?
It's, yeah,
55.
yeah,
55, right?
Oh, yeah, Article 4, right.
65.
You doubling all those numbers?
11 and, so it's 34,239, and 31,114 is 65,353. No? I get-
11,000
If I-
times 2 is 22, not
Um,
32.
Oh,
That's what
how
I
did
was
do-
thinking.
There
Thank
are,
you.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I did. I times it by 3.
So
Look
it's
at
like
that.
it's like third. It's like 58ish, right?
Regardless, it's still a lot.
60 grand. You're
So
right.
this, you said 2
The
times
Wachusett
11,000,
math usually
34.
works pretty good, though.
Yeah, go ahead. You can tell you're a school teacher. Just overtalk me. It works fine.
Hey,
Do I have an understanding of this that is correct, that let's just say hypothetically this gets voted down?
Yep.
Isn't there a portion of it that we have a legal obligation to pay, that being the increase in the minimum wage money?
We don't have.
It goes up January 1st.
anybody
Yeah.
who's not making who's making under $15 an hour would move up to $15 an hour.
Do we have anybody?
There's a few, like the cable people and that type of stuff, library aides,
Are making less than the 15?
because it's $14.25 is the minimum right now. But what that does, if we don't scale the whole thing, there's people at step 2 that
Making less
step
than
2 is
15.
$14.54. Step 3, like OAD 1, if you look at the FY '23 matrix, step 3, OAD 1, step 3 is $15.19. So the people that would walk in the door making minimum wage would be, somebody who's been here for 3 years on step 3 would be making 19 cents more than them.
That's the way the country's going, though. With
Exactly.
raising
So,
minimum wage to 50.
But
Shouldn't have voted
where
for
does
it
that
anyway.
leave us? If this thing gets voted down, we still
Our
have,
a budget deficit. We have a budget deficit.
we're not supposed to do that.
We are not. That would be a reserve fund transfer.
So there is a mechanism to take care of that.
Mhm.
Well, actually, that 15.5 in there could technically take care of that. Because that was put in there for no particular reason.
The thing is either way, whether we take it from the 15.5 or from free cash, it would
Yeah,
take a
yeah.
town meeting because it's not, or it's an departmental transfer. There's a couple of mechanisms we can do, but
But we would be able to address that after the first of the year if we had to.
yes.
Right. I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on Article 4.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, I.
Mo and I.
Norwell, aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Article 5 is to transfer $9,845 from free cash for the purchasing of 11 bulletproof vests for the police department.
I move that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
I second.
Any more discussion?
Sorry, I got here late. Do we have a number, estimate on free cash yet?
Oh,
Yeah, it
yes,
went up.
843.
What was the old number, Tommy?
500.
We were being conservative.
It was conservative 500 last Thursday, that's what it was.
That's like,
Is there like
We can squeeze $9,000 out of that.
a 2-second description of where that's coming from, the majority of it?
So we had 57,000 left over from the previous year.
Okay.
In tax title, we received about 220,000 from the sale at 259 Main Street that went up to auction, that finally was finalized, that came in. The rest is from receipts that were over what we estimated and unexpended appropriations.
So that's like $500,000 that is miscellaneously lined throughout that was over budgeted, basically.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you say it over budgeted, that's basically how we generate free cash to do some of these things. It's I mean, if you start,
No, I get it.
you know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah.
Well, estimated over budget. I mean, sometimes you can estimate the budget and think it, but then all of a sudden something happens, you don't actually have to do it.
Right.
Yep.
A
No, I
lot
get it.
of a lot of times, like my health insurance line item, I build in for an extra person, but then people come and go, and there's a family plan, then there's an individual plan, and then there's this, and then there's that, and I hope for the best, which I usually, it's
Yep.
over.
No, I get
So-
it. 500K just seems like a large
And once-
amount for that.
Once
sort
we
of-
get it certified, we can kind of do, which I think Dan has done in the past, I'll ask Jean to do like a breakdown of that, like
Yeah.
which licenses were higher than whatever, what
Right.
receipts were higher, or.
Right.
but-
That-
But like
Dan
we
is
were
always
talking
done.
earlier, that some of that money is one slug that's 200,000 plus thousand for a sale of a
Right.
tax title, you know.
But that's, 200
Right.
grand out of 800, that explains most,
And any,
some
any of
of
the
it.
tax title money that comes in too goes right to that too.
Mhm.
So, and we've had, a few of them got paid off this year, and I have people that make monthly amounts to that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Oops.
Well, plus that, didn't they say that that's gonna be reimbursed from grants?
The bulletproof
The
vest.
bulletproof vests?
Yes, federal
Yes.
grants and
Yes.
state grants. Yeah, it's
Yes.
50-50.
So it'll come through, but that we,
It's just gonna be a wash.
but not this year.
No, next
By
year
the
for
time,
free cash.
or when we get it. One never knows when we're gonna get it.
True. True. But, I mean, that's, as long as it's gonna be reimbursed, it's a.
so we're getting 9,000 for a federal grant, or is it actually an $18,000 and they're paying half and we're paying half?
No, this is paying the whole thing, and then we'll get reimbursed after the fact.
Okay.
We're getting 50% federal and 50% state.
Okay,
Do I have a motion?
I think the motion
It
was
was
made.
motion.
I made it.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
it's all
okay,
the way back.
sorry.
Winika, aye.
Sorry, I asked questions.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
How would I?
Narwhal die. Okay. To transfer $110,000 from water and sewer retained earnings, including all costs for the survey and design and any costs incidental and in relation thereto for a new sewer force main in Miles Road.
He didn't even budge.
I know, it
Face
kind of
on.
ruins the whole fun of it if he's not gonna react.
I'm still shaking from last Thursday.
Yeah, but
It's water and sewer.
and maybe I'll pick up from where Tony, I wasn't here, but the Miles Road is the biggest pain in the town's proverbial ass. And we have never, and this is all caused by a builder in town that built a whole bunch of houses that stuck that down our throat. And it's never, ever, ever gonna go away. And it's just, I wanna be heard that I'm so sick of builders coming in here and giving us forced mains and pumping stations that then all of a sudden we gotta fix down the road. We don't get, it's the biggest,
But part of that's from Devereaux being there too.
yeah, but it never was bad until Devereaux,
I
it never had a problem
I
until.
understand that, but that's them using it for years and years, and then the town took it over because of all the other stuff put into it, so.
Yeah, the other two developments.
What did they say, 200
So the
houses?
question we had last week, I believe, and at least I had, and we didn't get really an answer on it, was, well, we did get, I think we maybe did get an answer. This is only the engineering fees.
That is correct.
And is there an estimate of the cost of what it's gonna be when the engineering fees are done? I understand the specifications tell you, but there's gotta be a guesstimate.
I believe he said between 400 and 800. Believe that's what Joe said. Going off.
I
of-
didn't,
I-
I didn't create that to my memory, and nor did I
Yeah.
write it down, because I'm not on water and sewer, so I don't.
I was saying like.
Oh, thanks.
This was
Sorry.
the thing that he was gonna pay?
No, he's
Personal.
paying everyone's
Oh,
personal one.
Personally, yeah. I believe it's 400, 800, Joe said.
Yeah.
Which is a big range, to be honest, so.
That's
I've
a
written
big
down
range.
469.
So to spend $800,000, you're spending $100,000 to engineer it?
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to.
But we have
What he
to
said.
do the survey and design to see if there's any grants available, if there's any infrastructure monies available within the state. All of this needs to be done in order for us to apply for any of that. They're not just gonna take us on our word that we're gonna do it. They want the engineering done before you go
I
through.
make a
it.
motion to support Article 6
Favorably.
favorably.
Second.
Any more discussion?
You okay, Tom?
There's the reaction. Alright, we're good. Everyone.
Thank you, just made my day.
Did you vote?
No,
She hasn't
Was I
asked for a
asked?
roll.
No,
No, she
you're
hasn't
next.
asked for a
Oh.
roll. No.
No,
she-
no
not
one's,
yet.
no.
We haven't
Any
started
more
roll call.
discussion?
Oh, I thought you said you.
No, I just
Okay.
seconded.
Roll call vote.
Winika,
sorry.
aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rushala,
Ross, aye.
That's better. Mo and I.
Narwhal die.
boy, those rates are gonna go up like crazy.
It's a money pit.
No, this is coming from
Money pit,
retained
that's
earnings.
right.
This is coming from retained earnings.
Yeah, but at some point there's not gonna be
Somebody
enough
paid it to
return.
get there.
Get
Oh,
yourself
yeah,
a
oh, it's
well.
all the money sitting there.
Just dig
you
yourself
know,
a well. That's all
came
you
off
gotta
one of
do.
those trees,
Okay.
the sewer trees.
Article 7, to transfer $12,000 from certified free cash to be added to the appropriation for snow and ice to defray costs to be incurred performing snow plowing on unimproved private gravel roads in Rutland as previously approved and shown on the handout, designated private ways for snow and ice removal for the 2022-2023 winter season. These are all those non-town roads that we plow that have been agreed, but those are a finite list, they will not expand.
But
But what?
they don't plow my driveway.
So,
I'm leaving this meeting at 9 o'clock regardless.
well, you got questions, you gotta get answers.
I get it.
Um,
I don't have any problems, go ahead and ask a question.
so, why is it specifically going to, or is it specified that it's going to, or does it say that, wait a minute? Snow and ice, it's just going to snow and ice, right?
That is correct, snow and ice for the gravel
It says
roads,
incurred per, so does that mean when this, how much was it?
$12,000.
When this 12,000 runs out, we're not gonna plow them?
No.
No, I know, we can't, we'd have a
All
town
he's trying to
motion.
do is set it up so that we add more to the appropriation, so we have less of a deficit at the
Correct,
end of
that
the year.
makes sense.
That's all he's trying to do. And we've been, this is our second year doing this, I believe.
Yeah, I
Just
guess,
saying.
but what my point is why does it have to have, it should just mean appropriation to the snow and ice removal account, period.
It's coming from free cash because we did not want to budget it because it was it was
And
personally
he's,
owned.
and Mr. Buckley, Director Buckley has guesstimated that it's about $12,000 to handle that for just those roads.
I
So he's adding
understand
it
all that,
specific.
and we should be putting more money in the budget for it anyways.
What are
Yes.
these
My
roads?
point is, why does it have to specify what it specifies? And it's just,
He's
that's
trying
my
to-
question.
It's trying to be pointed out that this is how much it costs us to do these specific
Well,
roads.
Non-town roads.
Could someone mention one of
Been
these
doing it for
roads
the
for
last-
my?
Lord if I know.
25 to 30 years.
It was in one of the handouts.
Wasn't there a list last
I
week?
think it
was-
was
I
mostly
wanna
like
say
the
Pool
Pool
Sandy.
Sandy Beach.
I've obtained the list from DPW, and I'm gonna be putting it together as part of the handout.
Yeah, it was one of the ones that we got last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Dakota Trail, Grove Trail, all those. Oh,
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rashala, aye.
Ross, aye.
Mo and A.
And Narwhal, aye.
Would anybody like the list, or you already have it?
We all do have
Oh,
it
yeah,
from
we
last
have
week.
it.
I just
Thank
didn't
you.
have it. Thanks.
Yeah, if you have a copy there, I'll look at it.
In the
I like
past,
copies.
we have
You have
not
one? Is that what he said? You have
had
one?
it listed as anything. It's
No, that's
majority.
fine.
So
Yeah,
you're
that's
fine
fine.
with
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
I just always like to make sure people know
Yeah,
that, and
no,
that's, you know,
That's fine.
Tom,
you know,
this is like 10 cents a copy.
should put it in the
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I just want to make sure that was still okay.
Yep.
Okay. Transfer $9,850 from certified free cash for the purchase of, for the purpose of purchasing a new snow plow assembly.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on Article 8.
Second.
It was a fun part of the night.
Any other
It
discussion?
only came up 14 times after.
Roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
Vote aye.
Narwhal, aye. Next one is transfer $2,000 from certified free cash for legal review of the proposed bylaw amendments as approved by Article number 18 of the November 12, 2020 special town meeting as may be necessary.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on Article 9.
Really?
Not really, but that's, we saved $2,000 from the original one we didn't vote on, so.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this discussion.
You said $2,000, right?
Yes, it's 2000.
So I'm gonna start this discussion. We've yet to see these bylaws finished by legal review.
I agree with you.
So I'm thinking, when they finish spending the money, we'll worry about giving them more.
It's only,
They said they needed $8,000 2 years ago, and they still
Correct.
haven't spent the
And
original
that's what I
appropriation.
just said, we said no to that, so we saved $2,000 by not doing it back then.
But they haven't spent the whole thing yet.
Correct. That's
Isn't
what he
this
said the
giving
other
them
night.
2,000 more, so that gives them 10,000 total?
No,
right?
no, it will
No.
we gave them 6, and now
No, we gave him 4.
4, whatever it was.
So you guys are mad at me because I did it?
You, correct?
That's the
Yeah.
one I was ready to kick
So
you
if
in.
you-
You're
yes.
right.
Yeah.
We were gonna go flatten your tires, but we didn't do it.
That's all right. Well, let's vote. We'll all vote on favorably and then we'll shoot it down.
Well, they may not.
they may not.
We can vote no.
Okay.
We can all say no.
Well, he explained the other night, though, that the first 4,000 was in the works right now. Be committed, and he estimates that this too will take care of the rest of it. Which is gonna try to
We
finish
still
up.
have $2,500 left on the appropriation that hasn't been spent.
But I thought that was in the works to be, that's committed and it's in the works. That's what he said.
But when are we gonna get these? I mean, they're
And we
happening
also
for
were
how
told
long?
that the bylaws were gonna be finished in time for the spring town meeting.
Are they gonna be?
Huh? They said this past year they wanted them.
Which
No,
spring?
but how about this year?
I-
Coming up.
We haven't heard the.
Well,
Okay.
all right, so
There we go. Now we can vote.
It's fine.
You
We
wanna-
can-
you wanna not do that?
I mean, in fairness, it's $2,000.
Wait?
It's not a lot of money.
No, I'm just saying, what's the general, I mean, I said that because I thought we just wanted to, like you just said, $2,000, wanted to get it over with, but
You guys ripped me for giving them $4,000.
you're correct.
And I am truly disheartened by the fact that you, Mr. Rochelle, my fellow committee member, offered
I know,
$2,000.
but this is only half of that, so I didn't think it was quite as bad.
I am shocked.
So do you think that we can wait until another meeting to give them the extra money that they need?
Sure.
Well, then I'll withdraw my motion then, if somebody will withdraw their second.
Who did the second on that one?
I did.
Missed the
Oh,
four.
Darren? Okay. Do you withdraw your second, Darren?
I guess I do.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote unfavorably on Article 9.
Do I get a second?
I'll get a second just for the discussion.
Okay.
I think that we should vote favorably and all vote against it. And then we'll let it fly at the town meeting that we had that.
So we're
I-
withdrawing again.
No. Well, yeah. Well, I have to make a motion so that we can discuss it, right?
Yeah.
No,
We
you
can't.
don't have
we
to.
can't put finance committee recommends favorably and have none of us vote for it. The majority has to vote that yes, indeed, we recommend favorably for it.
Right.
To the chair,
Yep.
tremendous amount of reviews going on now, just so you all know. I really think that this money's needed, like you say, Tom, immediately to close this out and get it done. tremendous amount of reviews going on now. Granted, then they won't be done for the special, obviously, but they will be prepared, ready for annual.
Well, I know, that's what he was saying the other night, so.
There's
yeah.
legal review that has to be done here, so.
That has to be done
If
before
we
they
don't
put
have
it.
the money to pay for the legal review, I mean, what do? Then we're not gonna be ready for spring?
How about
Okay,
we change one more time?
well, I
But
don't know.
we put it out there with the,
Can you put a
it'll go down
stipulation on
like,
it?
it'll go down like the Titanic at the town meeting if they're not done. Because I,
They're not gonna be done.
no, but every time we go to these town meetings, we're almost there. And then we voted it down last time because they were almost there, but we couldn't get some answers. I'm not against this. What I'm against is that it never seems to push over the edge. And if $2,000 is gonna push them over the edge, I understand it, but
What's anybody else feel?
It's been going on for a long time.
It has been.
And we were told it'd be ready for the annual town meeting last year.
No, we were, to the chair again, I'm sorry, but yeah, they weren't all complete.
I-
There was a
I-
few that were just
I-
not ready, and they wanted them all done for presentation.
Are they done now?
They'll be done by annual, there's, like I said, there's a tremendous amount of legal work still pending.
The answer is
They'll be done.
no,
I
they are not.
I talked to Peter, and no intent to
surprised
be
he
ready
hasn't
for a
come in yet.
special, but yes, they'll be ready for annual.
It's COVID.
he's punching the camera in there now.
He's not in there, I don't think.
Yeah, he's here. That's all.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, the motion should be generally, if we're gonna be enough of us in favor of one way or the other,
We can't recommend favorably and then have us all turn it down.
Correct.
We have to do something where we're majority goes through.
We can rewrite the article one more time and I can take care of that problem. How's that? We will be favorable, but maybe we won't have a majority. How's that?
Well, that's okay.
we have to.
We have to have a majority to put our recommendation
Well,
on.
if
Because
Tommy
if I
wants,
didn't need a majority, we could just write this down and I
rescind
could
it,
just
and
call
I'll do
two
it
of you.
again. We'll do it and I'll vote no and then it'll be one against. Who cares? I want to send a
That's
little
gonna
bit of
make you feel
ripple.
better?
It would make you feel better. You could be
Oh,
too.
I wanna do that's why I said
It won't be,
What's the general consensus?
we don't list how our votes are. We put them,
Right,
The group is either.
yeah, the majority is favorable or unfavorable.
correct.
We don't put, 3 in favor, 2 against. We don't do that. 2.
You can still have a minority
We
opinion.
can change it if somebody feels strongly about it, but I don't.
If you want to do
Well,
it, if we could re-go one more time.
I'm just saying, if, right now, it's unfavorable, is that what the majority is wanting
Let's
to
take
do?
a roll call vote and then we can know where everyone stands. How about that? How about that? And but then we can go back through it. That's easy enough. So why don't we just take a roll call vote?
So the motion currently is to vote unfavorably on it.
Recommend unfavorable action.
And our reason, my reasoning for thinking that makes sense is because recent history has shown that this just isn't coming to fruition and it's
Okay,
throwing
see?
good money after bad.
Yep.
Which I don't want to do. But on the other hand, if Gary seems to be saying there is movement, we just aren't seeing it, and we will, but I'm sick of hearing that, I guess. I'm thinking
I
as
mean,
well.
I guess-
For the 2020 special town meeting, he sat in that room and told us how important it was and he was gonna have them done. And we're still waiting.
I guess, I think maybe a little differently from what Ted just said, and my reasoning is that if Gary, with his responsibility, thinks that this has come to fruition at the next town meeting, we should just go for it. And that's my support. I'm taking Gary's recommendation. I don't know the minutia of it. I can tell you that I'm not happy with the way it's been going, but I gotta rely on Gary's judgment.
Are you pretty confident
I've had many
Yeah,
conversations.
that's all.
with Peter
I
and
think I
Lisa,
rely on
so,
Gary, so.
Yeah,
with Peter and who?
we're almost there for the final.
All right, so,
So
We just
once
have
we
to
get the
rescind it one
final
more
from
time.
legal, then it still has to go before town meeting. All the bylaws have to
Correct.
go before
That's
town
correct.
meeting and the whole town has to vote.
Yes.
Prior to that, there's supposed to be informational sessions, write-ups, and all of that.
once it's been through legal and then.
And
All right.
the ability to get it in a form that we can that
Understand.
yes, and that you, John Q. Public can understand.
Right.
That, and
See
we
the
have not,
differences.
and last time we did not, one of the reasons that, so just to explain myself through the chair is last time we didn't have that. So I was instrumental in shooting it down because we were gonna go to a meeting and not have all the information, but we were gonna have to support it. So if that happens, then we're good. If it doesn't, I'll guarantee it'll go down like the Titanic again, so,
Instrumentally?
Instrumental.
I like that word you used there.
there we go.
All right, so we'll go backwards one more time.
Yep, backwards one more time. Withdraw it.
Rescind.
Tamika's run out of ink. Scratch that whole middle section. I'll go back to
Scratch that.
my first motion.
Second.
That we
Which is-
recommend favorably to the town.
The town vote
Recommend the
favorably.
town vote favorably on this article.
And I will second that.
All right.
Any more discussion?
Hopefully not.
I did.
Go ahead.
No, we gotta do it.
Jackie.
So, we gave them money already.
Yep, in
That
2020.
money still is there to be used. It has not gone back into free
$2,500
cash.
$2,500 is
I
left
think
on
Gary's
that
saying that's being used now, though.
It is, some of it's been used, Ted.
Yep,
So it sounded like 1,500 was used, there's 2,500 left,
Yep.
and we're now gonna pop another 2 at it.
Correct.
And the original request was 8, which was where your comment came that we,
We saved 2 from holding off for a while.
Well,
do you think they're gonna
theoretically,
come
they're
back
gonna
for
free
2
cash
more?
anyway.
It's gonna come out what?
Huh?
Tell me.
Instrumental in
Does
that.
not, after this, I do not.
I'm sorry, what?
I asked,
not.
did he think they would come back for 2 more for the total of 8, and he does not think that will happen.
The other night he said he wasn't gonna.
Okay.
Okay.
any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, I.
Know what I?
Narwhal, nay. I don't believe in throwing bad money after, good money after bad, or bad money after good.
We still can speak.
Well,
up
they
with
still
it.
got money, they just haven't spent it all yet. They're working on it.
Hey, they may not spend it.
Okay,
Then it'll
go
go to
back
free
to
cash
free-
next year.
no, because it's on an appropriation, it's on an article, it stays there until we at town meeting vote to move it.
No, they only have to give a letter to the treasurer to put it back into free cash. They're done with it.
Okay, Article 10. Huh?
Letter to the accountant, not me.
Oh, the accountant, I'm sorry, right.
Transfer $17,905.17 from free cash to account number 0012205200000 fire purchase services for the purpose of funding necessary equipment repairs.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's already spent, we have to do it.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, I.
Know what I?
Narwhal, aye. To transfer the sum of this is lower, this price is lower.
Oh, Karen.
Yep.
I apologize for interrupting. So this one changed since yesterday. I think on the version that I sent you. Carrie is going to pay for the tables from her gift account. So the article is now just for the chairs. The dollar amount has changed since Tuesday's meeting. For the 100 chairs, the dollar amount is $9,936 even.
Wow, so we went from 11 down to 9, and now we're going to 9 just for chairs.
Correct.
I did math on that
The
one.
tables were 177.
Is that $90 a chair?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yep.
a little high,
When I
anyone.
went through that, it was a packet, the ones that we looked at, and I did meet with Carrie. I came over after, like I said, I went there after the meeting the other night. And I don't know if you guys noticed, at our meeting, the joint meeting, I personally turned the chair around to watch the screen, and it broke, and I thought it was gonna fall on my ass. And I see what happened, and we've used these for many years, so I see what happened. I've come up set these up myself back in the DPW days. They're very hard plastic, they slip out of the brackets, they have to be replaced. So I did look at it, at an alternative, and that's what I come up with.
Do
that
we
price.
have a copy of that bill? Or that quote? Because the quote I was handed on Tuesday, I guess, has changed again.
You asked me to look into
Yeah,
that,
this happened
Karen, on
yesterday.
Tuesday, which I did.
I make a motion that
And this was state bid, they said, too.
Correct, yeah.
State contract,
State
yeah.
procurement.
I make a motion that the finance committee recommend to support Article 10.
Favorably. vote
Favorably.
How much is
Second.
it, but how much, oh,
$99 for a chair.
It's all right. We just gotta get
how
them.
much is in
right.
the library's gift fund? So she's throwing in
30,
1,700.
About
There's 38,
35,000.
but they're looking, they do have like a $3,000 repair coming up for some of their windows upstairs, and they are still waiting for a couple of receipts that I'm working on. So it's kind of just a little cumbersome to take it all out of the gift account. If we absolutely had to, we would, but I'd really like to see those receipts come in first.
Because the number she shared with me on Tuesday was the $9,800.
Correct. This happened yesterday. And it happened yesterday afternoon after I had sent everything out to you guys, and I didn't want to confuse things by resending.
So what kind of
Everything
chairs
for
are we
that.
getting? The same kind as this?
No, we're getting a little bit beefier, upgraded chair. We're not getting the hard plastic chairs like we've always had. Those
They're
are very
similar to the
susceptible
ones
breakage.
that are in the select board room. That have like the plastic arm, but then like the padding on the chair itself.
Excuse me one
Don't
moment.
trip over the wire.
I won't. And if I do, it's mine. So if
We
I
have-
break myself, it's my own
Plan
fault.
all this over $10,000.
Excuse me. I won't let her come
We just
back.
get an extra 100,000, 300,000. I mean,
It's kind of,
if we're gonna buy it though, we might as well buy it with free
You know,
cash, right?
you're mentioning too that the chairs are 90, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, over at the fire station, a number of years ago, back in the olden days when I was there, the old days, I went, several companies in Framingham donated chairs to us, steel case chairs and some other ones. And those guys started throwing them out, and when they were told, they said, geez, they're worth $450 a piece. Then
Here are
they
the
decided
chairs,
they
guys.
stopped throwing them out. Did they
that's
stack?
not them though, they're armless
stack.
too.
Yep.
The ones
But
where,
these aren't because that one says armless.
yeah,
That says what?
armless.
The
The quote is
quote
armless.
says armless.
Does it say on this?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, I gave it to Karen.
The print up I got on the actual part number that I put up had arms on it, so.
Yep. Guest chair, 4-leg base, armless.
So,
Can
my concern with armless would be if you have elderly in
I
here,
have a big concern with armless, so I agree on that, but the picture
The
I saw
ones that
of
we
the
have
chair,
are armless currently.
those are armless.
Yeah, we had no problems with them.
no, but I'm just saying if without arms too, you get some elderly people, they can't get in and out of the chairs unless they have arms on them.
And with arms, if you tend to grow the wrong way,
Well.
it's hard to get in and out. So I mean,
Can we leave this at this and then find out about that for sure? We can
We did
change it
something.
next week when we meet if we have to.
I mean, these other chairs have lasted what? 10 years? 20
More
years?
than
Can you change it to that amount, an amount not to exceed, and we'll just adjust the numbers of?
Whoever makes the motion will have to just do the numbers. I mean, we're just,
I-
I'm in favor of buying the chairs. If they need new
I-
chairs, we need to buy chairs, so.
yeah, so they are armless, and all it
Well,
is
no.
that chair
No,
without
no,
the
I
arm.
just threw that over as like, I just found one randomly that,
Oh, I'm gonna just, I
Alice, can we see that sheet down there?
didn't.
Please.
Obnoxious. Oh, they're Han chairs. And of course, you know, when you need to get stuff. I mean, how many more times is it gonna change between now and, you know, I'd say we hold off and wait to see if it changes and goes up or down again until 17.
Well, maybe that's what we do though, is we say not to exceed.
Well, this is to transfer $9,897.70. They can't go over that. They're stuck with that amount.
But it doesn't say the number, it says the number of chairs too.
Yeah, for the, well, right now it says for the purchasing of 10 tables and 100 chairs. For $9,897. Now we're going to only buy 100 chairs for $9,936.
Right, so
You not have the new Article 11, just says 100 chairs
No, the one I had was
on the other night?
still,
Okay.
no, it was the one I got sent
this one
yesterday.
says 10 chair tables and 100 chairs.
Yeah, so this
Posted day.
this change happened yesterday afternoon,
Yep.
and I felt badly. I didn't want to add confusion by sending out another
And I appreciate
set
that.
for that
Yeah, me too.
reason. So that the warrant that was posted today has the correct article on there for just the 100 chairs with no dollar amount.
Well, that's the maximum amount, so, like you just said, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the maximum. I just am trying to figure out,
So we're gonna have to clarify it, that's all.
well, anyone who's been following this, you know, the 6 people that have been following it through the, aren't they, I would think we'd want to have kind of an answer as to why it moved from 11 down to 98 and now to 99, and we're cutting everything kind of in half.
Karen, if I may, I think that part of it was the chairs that Kerry originally chose came 25 to a box, and they were basically the same plastic chairs that are in that room now. These chairs are a better quality, so the price increased, and that's why there's a larger price tag on it than there was previously for just the chairs.
And there's only 10 tables before, and the tables were like $160 a piece. So there's only 1,600 of the quote anyway. So I mean,
No, I get it. I'm just,
the numbers add up.
Yeah.
It's just expensive freaking chairs.
that's what it is. It's an armless guest chair. It's exactly that chair without arms. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
And black.
Which is now fabric. So,
Are we potentially asking for trouble if we say 100 chairs for a certain amount of money and something changes and
well, no, because
those two numbers don't reconcile?
well, I guess my concern's gonna be is with as many people that use these chairs for all sorts of different events, having fabric chairs out where everyone uses them, including anyone who might not be here in meetings. We no longer can clean them as easily as we can clean those.
That's a good point.
Well, that's true, but people, we're supposed to just be looking at this article as we're recommended what they want to do. We either should say, yes, we want to do it, or we don't want to. I mean, we can ask questions,
It
but
changed since Tuesday. That's
I
the concern I
understand,
have.
but it's
is
not-
it just keeps changing. You know, I get it. But I have, just like you have the right to ask, I have the right to
no,
ask.
I didn't say, I am not disagreeing with that. I absolutely,
So, any more discussion? Do I have a motion?
Darren
There was
motioned,
a motion.
motioned, but no second.
we'll have to, we'll have to be told if they can't buy 100 chairs for that number because of the arms, and they're gonna have to tell us.
We definitely need 100 chairs though. That's the number. I mean,
Can we buy less?
I guess I'm just wondering what is the point of the 100? Do we know?
Only to replace what we have because they are.
So there's
they're
100. There's
building at the
100
same
chairs
time. That's what
currently.
we have, yeah.
Gotcha. And is I mean, have we used all 100 chairs at any given point, or is there a need
We
for
never
100
know,
chairs?
I've never seen that room, well, we might have at a hearing last year, but I've never personally set that room up with 100 chairs. I've gone as far as 70, I've never set up.
We've
100.
never run out of chairs in that room. So it's a motion, but a second hasn't been given.
Oh, I thought there was a second. No second?
No, Darren made the motion.
You
I made the motion.
I seconded, didn't I?
No, you
Second. Sorry.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
No way.
Narwhal, nay. Town vote to transfer $997 from certified free cash for the purchasing a color printer for the resident and staff use at the library.
I make a motion that we recommended the town to vote favorably on this article.
Tamika, did you get the answer as to whether this includes as many copies as we want? Is there an additional copy charge? Did you get any of those answers?
I asked Carrie, and she said that if she purchases a service contract, that it would cover, I guess, toner and maintenance. But she wasn't specific as to whether or not she was going to do that. I did notify her about like the overage charges that we get, and that it's something that would have to be budgeted for. And it's something that would be worth looking into, because the difference is we lease ours in the other building, and this would be an outright purchase.
Okay.
So I'm not clear if the same conditions will apply to hers,
Not
but
usually.
I did notify her though.
Not usually, because that's how it is, so then we don't have to worry about a shortfall, chances are.
Okay.
Second.
And I think I heard somewhere after Thursday meeting that the question we had, the money that's collected for these copies, what it says in that art, whatever it says here.
Yep.
Or they talked about, that
Goes
money
to the
goes
town.
in, is turned over to the
To the
town treasurer.
Yep.
So that money's been going into
You'll be
the,
getting money this week.
I haven't gotten to the
You will be
paper
getting
copies.
money this
Okay.
week.
I don't know where it is.
And all I need you to do is tell me if you don't, because
I haven't gotten any copies.
She said
We
you
haven't
haven't
got
got
anything
it for
since
2 years.
2021.
Yeah.
And she told me tonight that that's on her and she will get it over to you.
Do we have any
What-
idea how
what did
much
she
that,
say?
like, do we have any idea how much that?
What's her name said that
Maybe
she hasn't turned it in a couple of years.
And sends copies, money
Oh.
upstairs, sitting in a drawer.
Yep.
Anyways,
It's a
that's,
little silly,
Apparently
isn't
it
it?
is.
that's very concerning, but, okay.
It's, I think the last deposit was what, $125?
$150.
Yeah, something like that in 2020.
For what
So this
period?
does not make a lot of money.
No,
This is really a staff purchase for staff use.
but if there's money being turned in, it should be turned in on a regular basis,
That's
shouldn't
besides
it?
the point.
That would be the public use of the machine, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Turnovers are supposed to be done weekly. Not supposed to be cash kicking around.
Yeah.
You're supposed to.
Speak
That's
with
what
the
you're supposed to.
librarian and the library trustees to
But,
make sure
you know,
that that's
I mean, a couple of
occur.
weeks or a month is one thing, but 2 years.
Please.
It's been COVID, she didn't.
Can we
wanna
get
bring
that
it.
question answered, why it hasn't been anything? Not that I'm against this, I'm
It's
just
just,
asking.
it was an oversight and it will be remedied, is what
Okay.
I was told. By
Okay,
the,
good.
before the town meeting, a deposit will be made, so.
Okay.
Of $5.
Might be a little more than that. 10.
Geez,
Oh, but,
This
but
is-
we had COVID, the library was closed for a while.
this was
too.
$900. And we didn't spend this much time, 110,000.
Okay.
Okay.
It's always the way it is.
It is always.
All right, so.
Let's go.
We have a first and a second. Does any other discussion?
It's because we saw your face and that was plenty of discussion.
Okay, roll call vote.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Kushala, aye.
Ross, aye.
Oh, no.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, transfer $15,000 from free cash for the purpose of replacing one failed heater in the DPW garage.
I motion that we vote favorably on this.
Recommend the town vote
Sure, there we
favorably.
go. That's what I said.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
Oh, no.
Narwhal, aye. 14, transfer $15,000 from free cash for the purposes of recovering DPW funds used to pay for the cutting of dangerous trees along town roads.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Ross, I.
Hold on.
Narwhal, aye. Okay. Transfer $7,000 from free cash for the purpose of hiring a professional to make recommendations on handicap accessibility at the community center and make any necessary upgrades as identified.
Well, I'm gonna make the motion, we can talk about it, I guess. I move that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Discussion?
I thought at the meeting last week, Nancy had said that this was not written the way that she wanted it. And
It got
I didn't know if that
changed.
was gonna change.
This did change. This is
Did
not
change.
the way, last week it had said just to hire somebody, a consultant to review and make recommendations. This does say and make any necessary upgrades as identified.
Right.
So it's more open-ended. However it gets used is a little bit suspicious, but it's okay.
Well, the concern that I had, and I didn't, because we would have been another 3 hours on this one. If somebody writes up all these things that they're talking about, that somebody thinks that we should do there, then are we gonna be obligated to do them? Or you said, believe what you said was, as long as we have a plan to attack them down as we can go to them,
That's correct.
we're not gonna get slammed with, say, look at,
As long as
you
we-
got the study now. I don't care if you only got 7,000 appropriated, it's gonna cost you 150,000 to do all these things.
That's correct, and part of the plan is to apply for that 88 grant. for
Okay,
Warrant.
all right,
Yeah,
I
right,
got you.
see.
Yep, good, all right.
Because it's grandfathered and we don't have to do anything. Technically speaking, we don't have to do anything with this.
Except when we do a major renovation,
Right.
which we're gonna be doing some major renovation.
Right, which I would say that if we're going to be doing major renovation, I would wait until we do the major renovation to do all this, but that's not here or there.
Well, there's a couple of things there they've been asking for a long time to get done, so. But, well, unless somebody goes over there and complains.
I mean, are those major renovations, and probably this should have been asked last time, is that going to affect the door that we're gonna put in, and therefore we're gonna have to redo it all anyway? I mean, is that,
That's a good point.
Well, that was the whole thing of having somebody come in because they didn't want to just do the door, but they want to make sure that the door that we currently have is the right door and that we shouldn't be doing this and we shouldn't be doing that. So
Yeah.
it's to make sure that we have a professional that
Right.
goes in and tells us what to do.
but then when we do the major renovation, we probably have to do that, have that person come in again, I would think.
No, this will be everything. It'll identify all the problems, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully
Unless
this
things
will-
change.
Don't worry, it's gonna be a book this way, so don't worry.
We already had the motion and the second,
Yeah,
so.
any other discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, I.
Vote aye.
Narwhal die. 16, $50,000 from free cash for the purposes of completing necessary repairs to the 3 chimneys at the Woodhouse building or make any masonry repairs as needed.
You said that was what, 50,000?
$50,000.
This is from free cash, or we just got 3? I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
What happened to tearing down 2 of them in this article, or doing, I mean, this is saying we're gonna repair all 3. There was a large conversation about looking at 2 of them,
Getting rid of the 2 because they're not very
potentially getting rid of the 2, which this is now, based on the conversation last week,
And it's in the minutes that that's what it is.
yeah.
So.
So it doesn't seem like it changed at all, which leads me to believe that we are indeed repairing all 3. Is that required? Are we required to repair all 3? Do we have
We're not
any?
required to repair all 3, obviously, we have to have the main functioning. Unfortunately,
Right.
until
The
we
one
start
furnace.
taking the joining and the flashing down, we don't know what kind of repair is needed to the roof as well, but that'll be part of the chimney repair.
My understanding was they're gonna, the 2 of them, they're gonna repair from the standpoint, they're gonna get rid of the,
Pumpkin bread?
through the roof and block it off below the roof line.
Yeah,
And
two,
they just-
two of them, yeah.
two
the
of them, and then just
non-functional
fix the
ones.
other one so
But
they can
that's-
have the
yeah,
furnace.
But this is stating that all three are gonna be repaired.
Those are repairs in one fashion, I guess.
They got
They're not making it work again, they're repairing it down to,
I agree
don't-
with you. By putting that, you're going to have, Tommy, you've been here long enough to know you're gonna have certain individuals that are going to hear this and say, what do you mean you're taking down those 2 chimneys? I voted on to repair them, not take them down.
Well, I also think that it gives, if it does get voted in, then, and I'm not saying that we don't always make the best decisions to do things, but if the better decision is to take one down, it may still get repaired because we allowed for it to get repaired. Not stating.
no,
that-
I understand what you're saying. I would say that whoever's doing the motion and talking about this article is gonna have to explain it. And if they don't explain it that way, then we're gonna have to say something.
Through the chair,
Mhm.
doesn't the, or make other masonry repairs as needed cover?
That's repairs.
Still repairs.
It's repairs. We're saying demolish it.
We're gonna knock the part off that sticks out of the roof and cap it.
Yep.
That's,
So that
that's
no-
repair technically.
That's what I'm saying. And then you gotta fix the roof. You can't leave the roof with a hole in it. So that's a repair.
You gotta fix the roof, and also you may still have to fix the flue. We don't know what the inside of it looks down to the ones that aren't being used at this point. So there still may certainly be some masonry repairs, even though the chimney may not be used for stability. You're not gonna take the chimney down from above roof level all the way down to the
No,
fireplace.
yeah, I get that,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But is there gonna be any discussion about how, or has, would Joe come back with, and talk to, the masonry program at, Bay Path?
Yeah, that's right, Joe Beck.
He was gonna try,
I'm sure that'll
but
take time.
that's gonna take some time,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And that's really more of a way to, I think we need to give the appropriate amount of money to do what's needed, and then hopefully we can do it for less. I don't
Right.
disagree with that whatsoever. I just think that the overall desire from last week was to curtail this description from repair to be more of a do what's necessary, do the most economical thing. I think is probably I don't know the right wording, I'm obviously not a word person, but
It's just an awful lot of money.
it is an awful lot of money.
Is that building 10 handicap accessible?
Excuse me?
Is that building handicap accessible?
What is Woodhouse?
That's the Historical Society building.
The brown one out front?
Yeah.
The old police
No.
department.
Okay.
It's not handicapped accessible.
So why are we doing this shit without making it handicap accessible?
Well, we gotta fix the roof because it's leaking.
It's dangerous.
There is a ramp out back there to go up, but I don't know how far into the building. It goes into that side room over there. It used to be part of the police
Yeah,
department.
it's like that steep.
He doesn't want to go up that. He's
I don't even
scared.
think electric wheelchairs can go up
Those
that
are
ramp.
buses too.
The kids use it for skateboarding so they can do damage to their heads when they bang into the wall, but you know, hey.
Through the chair, if I may.
No.
Just- Who's the vice chair?
He's not here.
We don't have one.
You're out of luck, buddy.
We're a dictatorship.
After where it says 3 chimneys at the Woodhouse building, or make other masonry repairs is needed. An important note is we did talk about foundation repairs with that stone, and that would be considered masonry repairs because it is severely cracked. The concrete is legal land, it's gotta be respectful, so. Food for thought. They are
So you're
masonry
saying
repairs.
that
This could be used
Instead
for
of-
either or.
just using
Any
that,
masonry.
we're gonna make more repairs to the building than really what's technically needed. And I put needed with quotations because, obviously I get that it needs or should have additional repairs, but
But we're gonna concentrate on the chimneys first.
Yep, yes.
I would just think that there's a lot other priorities in town
In
than,
buildings that are.
Well,
essential to
but
town.
the part about the chimney was that the roof needs repair.
correct.
We can't do the roof repair.
But you can't do that until the chimney's fixed, and the roof repairs are pretty critical.
Right.
Like,
And I guess to that point, I would hate to see money spent on this building for the foundation before other things are purchased and the money is spent on.
Other buildings that are more widely
Or
used.
just anything in general, period.
A person.
I feel like there's a lot of other needs in this town. Police vests, that seems like a good option. Firefighter equipment.
I agree that you have to maintain the buildings we have, but this isn't a widely used building.
Correct. That's, I guess, exactly what I'm saying. I've never been
I
there.
guess it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the people in the building every day, they're gonna say it's widely used. But I think, didn't this number come from DPW? But he said the number was on the bigger side because you had no clue what might have to be done.
Correct.
Because you can't know that until you take it apart.
Bless you.
Correct.
So maybe this number, as far as what actually gets used, might be substantially less than this.
Absolutely, except for
So-
the open-endedness that we're leaving it to
Correct.
do
Masonry
work to the
repairs, which
foundation and
means
other
that 50
things.
grand will be spent.
Well, it doesn't say
Yeah.
anything about foundation. It
Yeah,
just
It
just
says
I
other
understand
masonry
what-
masonry
repairs.
what's that?
It says other masonry repairs.
Oh, and make other masonry
Because we
repairs.
talked about what the pillars last
Oh, yeah, it
week.
does say, okay.
I don't
The
remember,
front
but
steps,
that
the
was talked about.
porch. I think we just need a really
Yeah, the
good
corner
slippery
support
day
for
and
the
have
front
somebody
porch,
hit it.
yeah.
and-
Right off of Maple Ave, right into
Oop.
it.
So do I have a motion?
You have a motion, no second.
Okay.
That's right.
Who made the motion?
Tom.
Okay.
Somebody over this side.
Thank you. I lost track. Thank you. Tommy made it favorably, right?
He did.
He
Okay.
did.
Does anyone want to make a second for that?
I second it.
Any other discussion?
There's no way we can reword this at this point, right? Is this kind of set in stone?
No, we can reword the motion
I
document.
see what you did there.
We can reword the motion document.
That was
The
not
motion
on purpose.
document's not set in stone.
Really?
No, when the
It was
motion's
not.
made,
That's
that can be
pretty cool.
adjusted
You gotta
when the
love
motion
happy
is made on the
voices,
floor.
Well,
We'll make it
and-
on the floor, but you can't.
You can't change
modify
this
now
right
from
here.
what's on the warrant.
This
right?
motion document is not posted anywhere.
No, but how can the motion differ from what's on the warrant unless you do it on the floor?
You'd have to do it on the floor. Just read it differently.
Because this says, a sum of money to complete necessary repairs to 3 chimneys at the Woodhouse building or make any, yeah, okay, so yeah, that's what the thing is. But see, the explanation here needs to be a little bit less,
Open-ended?
yeah. It needs to say, and
What's the?
if monies were left over, the foundation could be addressed.
It doesn't say.
And it
masonry
could,
repairs.
and it could be that we'd taken down some of these chimneys. I think the explanation should be there so that when people are voting for this, because otherwise I can already hear the phone calls that your office will receive. I voted for that to be fixed, not taken down. Oh my goodness, the center of the town looks horrible now.
Does that have to be done on the floor?
No, the explanation
No, I can do
can
it on the
change.
motions document.
Okay.
No, the explanation on the warrant.
Right, but yes, but I'm also gonna put an explanation on the motions document as well as part of my handout.
Yeah, because that would be the only thing, the explanation, because that's the one most people.
I think that the explanation would be nice if it would say something to the tune of, we're looking to repair, replace, and/or demolish any necessary or unnecessary change, something of that nature. Leftover money could be used on foundation or any other stone pieces in the building.
That's what I was saying right to me. So whoever's gonna make this, has gotta explain exactly what's going on there. Not in the motion, I'm just saying, they gotta
I'm
talk
just
about the
saying,
article.
I agree, however,
You speak to the article.
it's easier if we write it as an explanation for those
Oh,
who,
the explanation could be better, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you
So-
100%.
Yep, I will do that. I
And
will
in
make that
fairness,
change.
most of the motions are pretty open-ended, to be honest.
Well, usually-
Most of the
usually
yeah,
articles
they
it's
are.
usually there.
Just scary.
And
Give
just
them
to
a
be
little fact-
devil's
well,
advocate, I'm sure there'll be folks
If
in
you
the
wanna
audience
tighten them
that
up, you
say,
can.
what do you mean demolish? You're gonna take down a piece of history, a
Good.
historical building, so I think it could go both ways.
We
I see that,
demolished
but
how many
some people
other,
say that.
buildings that were historical in this town that got demolished in no time flat, and we're worried about that one? That one's the least of the historical buildings.
I know, but there are definitely folks in town that feel very strongly about
Yes,
that
they do,
building.
which is why we should be transparent, because otherwise your office is gonna get all the calls.
There's a motion and a second.
Yep,
There it is.
roll call?
Winifred, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rushala, aye.
Ross, aye.
But I.
Norwold, nay.
Oh, I love it.
We need all this money left over because we're going to have shortfalls in this budget. Okay. Reallocate $6,000 from Article number 9 dated November 18th, 2021 for the replacement of pool house doors.
I'm sure you guys asked, the rec committee didn't have extra money and to do this?
They-
I'm sure you
yeah.
asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
They wanted $2,000 to rekey the doors,
They're paying that.
and they're paying that now.
You're gonna do the push button
Darren, if I
doors.
may, they
It's-
clarified that this is technically facilities, which falls under DPW's purview. Because
Okay.
it's the building.
And also, it's damage from water that's coming off of the back of the
It's
town
drainage,
hall.
it's a drainage
It's a
problem. It's
drainage
nothing
problem.
they did.
So it's not really their fault.
We're gonna fix the drainage problem, we're gonna fix the doors, and now it's on them.
Okay,
It's not coming out of free cash, it's coming.
Right, from
It's just
another
a
article,
realloc-
which
it's
came
just
from free cash.
But, yeah, I
So
was gonna say,
either
that
or,
came,
it's still.
It's really free cash, but, yeah.
Not this free cash.
We don't have a motion, right?
no, we don't yet.
I suggest that or motion that we recommend the town vote favorably on this article. Go ahead.
Second.
I gotta stop doing this. Somebody else do it.
That's right, you did
All right,
perfect.
you're faster. We need speed here.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Winifred, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
What would I?
Narwhal, aye. I'm
What did you say the number was for that one?
6.
6,000.
6,000.
You don't have it on a piece of paper, Tom?
No, I had it right, I was trying to write fast
Okay.
the other night. I don't know what it's.
Reallocate $16,000 from Article number 9 dated November 18th, 2021 to
Watching
purchase
the game
supplies
over
for
there.
the
I don't know
installation
what
of
game.
drainage to prevent
Watching it.
flooding in the pool house building that ruined those doors.
Somebody make the
Or
motion.
take any action in relation thereto.
Nope, that doesn't say that on the article.
What was that number again?
16.
16, but it's a reallocation.
Again, it's not from free cash.
$9,016?
No, 16,000.
Oh, 16,000.
I did say 9, I'm sorry. I don't know where it came from. Oh,
Article 9.
It came from Article 9, yep. Absolutely.
Last year, we gave them money to fix a sewerage problem in there and it cost less than what they put in.
Yep.
But that's true, that article definitely came from free cash.
It did.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's still coming from free cash.
No, I
but last
understand
year's
that, I
free
just
cash.
wanna make sure originally it came from free cash.
Yep,
Semi-free cash.
yeah.
Not water and sewer enterprise.
No.
It's definitely coming from that. It's actually just coming straight from the town payers' money. It's just like sewer and
Still
cash.
coming from all of
Sewer
us
and
anyways,
water.
but anyways. That was 18, right?
Did I get
Okay.
a second?
We didn't get a
We
motion.
didn't get a motion. I motion that we recommend the town vote favorably on this article.
Second.
No.
I thought we did.
No.
Any other
We
discussion?
did not.
That was the last one you voted. Okay, roll call?
Winifred, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
Vote aye.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, reallocate $5,000 from Article number 12, library heater AC units dated November 18th, 2021 for the updates and repairs to 2 primary doors at the library. That would be this one and the one upstairs.
Yeah. It's
I make a motion that we recommended the town to vote favorably on this article, Article 19.
Second.
Any other discussion?
these doors seem just fine. right there. Holy shit.
Okay.
Is that room?
I'm sure they discussed this last week. I think it was after I left. So the reallocation means whatever this $5,000 is left over from.
The repairs that
Here,
we've
stuff.
used, yeah.
So we're
And again, this came from
Just
free cash, but it's
repurposing it.
last year's free
Right.
cash, yep.
More semi-free cash.
What did you say the number was?
5.
5.
What are you looking at in your phone?
I don't know. It doesn't have any numbers, but I thought I heard 12. I don't know why.
it's the Eagles game.
Article number 12, Article 12 from last year,
Oh, maybe, okay. Never mind.
5,000. Okay, roll call.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Pashana, aye.
Brass.
Mow it, Danny.
Narwhal, aye.
All right, I'm gonna be ready to write down
Did you
now.
say nay? Wow, good job.
It's
Gotta
not
get
the
in.
first one.
Get it, people hating you. Keep going.
Okay.
It's not the first name.
Reallocate
Good.
$10,000 from Article number 12, library heater AC repairs, AC units dated November 18th, 2021, for landscape updates at the library.
So, we have discussion.
Sure.
How in the hell did we overprice this by $15,000? And it's probably more money. How much extra do we actually have in that account?
In
That article.
In that article?
Do you know yours?
There's
actually.
26,896. 26,896.
So we missed that by $26,000?
We got a deal.
You got
Oh,
great
we got a
prices
deal,
there.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did.
So if we're only taking 15 out of that, that means it's another $11,000 sitting in that.
Very,
No, we're taking, oh yeah, 15, I'm sorry.
it's very
If I
interesting.
don't use Excel, I can do better in my head. I typed the wrong number, it's the problem.
What are you working on?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
What?
What are you
Darren?
working on?
Ross,
Right.
aye?
Yes, sir.
Aye, Ross, whatever you usually say.
Keep it up, buddy. You're gonna be looking for friends in a little bit.
I'm losing as every day goes by. But as you know, because you're familiar with the process, you have to go out, you have to get the best price you can. You can't assign that job, that function, to who you get that price from, but you have a base mark.
Okay.
And that, I mean, there are bidding requirements, as we all know that, but that's what we have to put in for whatever really high price we get. And then, like this one, you get an excellent price and you have money left over.
We are good.
Right. But
It's,
if this, this was done last year or the year
Yeah.
before?
This was
Last
just
year.
last year.
But that same statement is, when you get a really good, if the article was for a specific purpose and you got a really good price, then the leftover money should be turned back into the town as free cash.
It would if we closed out the article. You're
No,
right,
I understand
because we
that,
do
but that's what I'm saying. Once the purpose is done, you should close it out.
And
You're
we
supposed
could
to.
certainly do that if this was denied. But this, you've got the money already in there that was.
I understand what you're doing, but I'm just saying,
The bad news is now we can't close it out into free cash because free cash has already been submitted. So now we'd have to wait until next year.
You do, but you still have a balance in there that could be turned, that could be.
Right, but that's still
Well,
could be
that's what I'm
turned in.
saying, is it's, you know,
I mean, we
I
all
get
know-
where he's coming from, just get it all done, clear it all up every year. That way the expense report's not 28,000 pages long because
Try
of all
not to
these.
do that all the time, but it's just supposed to.
Mhm. Okay, we have a motion and a second, right?
Well, we have neither.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was just, yeah.
Yeah, we can start it with, can we talk about it?
I make a motion that we recommended the town to vote favorably on this article.
second.
Article 20, right? Yeah, 20, Article 20.
Similar with the last article, this seems like a unnecessary use of money.
Oh.
Just my opinion.
It's going, as Joe said, he's gonna use it to trim a lot of the bushes, remove some of the bushes, but there will be no further monies to upkeep these repairs.
Right.
Yeah, that's, my understanding
Updates.
is he's gotta get some of the stuff away from it so it doesn't hurt the building down the road further.
Yeah, I mean, that plus the, I guess they get calls constantly that it looks ugly. Which I would say just get some volunteers to come and rip some stuff out.
Right, yeah, you could, I
We've
guess.
tried, but it's been unsuccessful.
I used to get Sheriff Lou's guys up here when I was on the board. We would do it that way.
Yep.
But I think there's definitely been problems with
On that corner.
soffits in the
That
walls and
corner's
stuff from drip and the trees and things.
And we'll adjust them all, we'll rip out some of them to avoid all that, and then they'll be like, well, now it looks so bare,
Yeah.
why didn't they do something?
That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna pull this stuff out, and then somebody's gonna complain that it looks ugly on the other side, and then they're gonna ask for money to plant bushes and
Well-
maintenance, and
Well-
it seems like
Well,
That's
yeah,
an
but-
Eagle Scout project.
both of them are.
Could be.
Do you get a lunch break?
Did I get what?
Do you get a lunch break?
No, I don't take a lunch break. I eat at my desk.
Would you like some pumpkin bread?
I was thinking, I'll bring you up a rake and you can come down here during lunch and rake some of these leaves.
Well, I was gonna say, we blow all the leaves out, take all the shrubs out, use some of the masonry money from the other article, pave it with the concrete and then paint it green.
Ooh, that's a
Oh,
good
that's a
idea.
good idea.
I've had a lot
The
of-
motion on the
a lot of
floor,
old
and it
time.
has been
Some of the
seconded.
actually
Yep.
belong to this. Everybody's seen that.
We're gonna be here till you guys yell
Or
at me.
landscape design, that's
Yeah,
all it
we're
was.
getting close,
Just
but
more
we-
landscape design.
Nobody's
I know.
yelled.
No, they
Why not?
give me the hairy
Okay, so
eyeball.
we have a first and a second? Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call.
Rebecca, aye.
Purcell, eh?
Charlotte, I.
Ross, nay.
Oh, and nay.
Narwhal, aye.
Oh, put her on the spot there, didn't we?
I'm really not thrilled about it, but I'm like, if they're gonna rip these things out and create less problems down the road,
It
that'd be
doesn't
it.
sound like less problems to me, but
I just want to have a nay. That was a good one.
Okay, Article
it's a waste of
21.
money. Also, $10 grand.
To amend the revolving funds general bylaw according to the document on file with the town clerk and in the handout. So everyone's seen this. This is creating a revolving fund for RDIC and for the Earthworks Board. At the time that we institute this, it will not be funded, so there will be no monies in them for them to use. They will not be able to be funded, if able to be funded, until the annual town meeting and our budgetary process. So, this is just allowing this to go to the AG's office and get approved.
And these were the two that we recommended to be off that list last year.
Right, because we
Correct.
had too many questions.
So is the thing, I didn't read those sheets, so is it, did you read them? Are they
Yes.
appropriate or whatever you think they're right?
In my humble opinion, yep, because they're not funded, so right now it
I
doesn't
make
make
a
any
motion
things
that
worth the
we
difference.
recommended the town to vote favorably on this article.
So the 45-minute conversation from last week, it's RDIC and not
Yes.
CPP poo-poo,
HPPD.
whatever the hell it is.
Well, I don't
care.
understand why they have, because they're a subgroup of the other one. They were made in there,
I don't
You
care,
know,
I just wanna
you're
make
gonna
sure
pull
that
that,
was
you're gonna
confirmed.
pull that string, you're gonna get him going. Okay, so we
I just
have,
wanted to make sure it was confirmed, that's all.
yes,
Yes, it was confirmed
Okay.
town council.
Then second,
okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call,
So this just creates it, it doesn't do anything?
doesn't do anything, we're not
There's
funding
no
a thing.
money. Oh, Rebecca, aye.
Purcell, nay.
Oh, Rochelle, aye.
Shall I?
Thank you.
I just want to do. I want to be like you. No, Ross, I. Sorry. I'm
oh, and I.
Narwhal die.
I am so tired.
Okay,
That was good.
Somewhere in California.
Article 22.
Okay, so this is where the numbers changed from last week, right? Yep, we took out that one.
Vote to authorize the select board to acquire by purchase, gift, and/or eminent domain the property located at 307 Main Street, Rutland, identified by the assessors as parcel 30-C-2 and classified under the provisions of General Law, Chapter 61A, which property is subject to the town's right of first refusal for general municipal purposes and on such terms and conditions as the select board deems appropriate. And B, raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds and/or borrow a maximum sum of $800,000 for the purpose of funding said acquisition and costs incidental and related thereto, and to meet this appropriation, to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the select board to borrow all or a portion of said sum under general law, chapter 44, sections 8, 7, or 8. Hi, Norm. And or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes to the town, to enter into agreements and execute any and all instruments as may be necessary.
Using the margins I used to use in school,
Yeah.
trying to make a paper 3 pages longer than it's supposed to be.
So, the,
Is
I invented that trick, you know.
Is this,
Double space.
what's his name's property down there,
this is
Elbeck.
Mr. Elbeck.
Elbeck.
Elbeck Senior. So it's now in the hands of his heirs.
And
Um,
did you say a number, or did you not say?
800,000.
Not to exceed 800,000.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
but
say-
now,
Not to exceed 800,000.
I would like to open this for discussion. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, and that's for the 15 acres?
Correct.
So I remember having a discussion on that long meeting that we can't raise and appropriate because we don't have a funding source.
Correct.
So why does it have that in the motion?
Karen, so if I may, I noted in the email I sent yesterday that this document still has to go to legal for review. So I left it as it is now, and that will be changed once final decisions are made, and I've, worked with legal on that. This is just for the purposes of you guys to have the numbers tonight.
But-
Posting covers all the bases of what
Right.
we're gonna do.
Right.
When you read the motion, are you gonna borrow it? Are we gonna take it from, free cash? Are we gonna take it from stabilization? How do you?
Or are you gonna do some of each of those? You could do some of each of those.
But don't the taxpayers have to make that decision?
Well, the
Yep,
person that
that's the
makes the
motion.
motion is gonna
That's the-
start off
right.
with that. I'm just saying, they're always in all the motions because there's combinations and or individual, parts of it too, so.
Right. And I guess it's up to the body.
Anyways.
But the motion has to be read, whether we're gonna borrow it. And I think you all got the email that I sent out,
Uh-huh.
and what Tamika put together explaining this. There's a couple of things that have to happen. And what we're trying to do is set up the funding to purchase this if we want to, because we walked away from the other one in 2016.
We didn't
Too
have
much.
the funding. We
Exactly.
didn't walk away. We didn't have the funding.
Well, that's what I mean.
Okay,
That's
we're
what I
gonna
mean.
say it the right way. We
Okay.
didn't walk away.
Okay, and that was what was the upsetting part. So now, what we're trying to do here is come up with a way to fund it, so that we don't have to walk away, whatever, you know what I mean? So we don't have to
well, I didn't need that piece.
Not
It's so special about that.
exercise our right of first refusal. So. But there has to be a commitment on.
Okay, so this sheet tells us how you would like to put it on there and what you could do to borrow the money. And do we know how much land do we own in Rutland? Does anybody have a list of all the parcels that we own, the town owns now that we don't do anything with? What are we gonna do with this land if we buy it? It's gonna come off the tax rolls. Then what are we gonna do? We gotta even find more money to try to fund the budget.
The hope is, Tommy, that this land will be used for, you got some structures there that are gonna remain. You've got some acreage there that we can use for recreational purposes. You've got the possibility of town building, such as a dispatch center that can be built there, and if it is built there, it's done free, completely free by state 911. There's
Right.
possibilities, and also, the big thing is you don't have another development going in. That's the big thing. That's because there is a bona fide offer on the table from a contractor.
I'm gonna step out of my comfort level and I'm gonna make the motion that we table this until legal has given it and it's specific as to how we are going to do this.
That's up to the town.
The motion, right now says raise and appropriate. We cannot raise and appropriate.
But the motion's gonna change.
The motion's gonna change. The
That's what I-
motion isn't posted.
Right, I gave you a draft document just so
Right.
you had the numbers. This
And
is
that's what I'm
not what
saying.
is
I
going to
would-
the meeting. What you're voting on is the warrant, not the draft motions.
I understand that. I would say at this point, we table the discussion until the motions document has come back from legal as to how specifically we're gonna do it. Because we're making a recommendation. Right now, it's raise and appropriate. I myself can't recommend to raise and appropriate because we have no way to pay for it that way.
But that motions, sorry to interrupt, but
They
the
gave you
motions
several
document
ones.
is just basically a copy of the posted warrant at this point.
Yes.
The decision needs to be made on the town side, whether you're gonna read the motion as, we're gonna borrow up to 800,000, or we're gonna take, transfer from stabilization up to 800,000 for the
Precisely.
purchase.
That's precisely. And I would say that if we recommend to vote favorably as how it's written, I myself personally would like to see the motion written the way that we're going to recommend to the town. We're gonna read it to the town that night.
It will be.
So that's what we're deciding on right now as to how you wanna do it.
It will. Only you guys have seen this document. This is not a public document.
The
So
motions.
you're making your recommendation based what's on the warrant, which has to be all of this verbiage according to town council. Once a decision is made on how the town wants to move forward with it, the motion will be very specific as to where the funds are coming from.
So we're deciding how it's going to be written right now?
No.
No, we're supposed to look at this and make either a yes, you do it, or no, you don't.
Right.
That's what
And
we're
it's-
supposed to be doing, and I agree, this is just listed out like every other article we look at. It gives you all the options, doesn't mean you're gonna use all the options, it means the motion's gonna say one thing, or it may say two or three things, but
The motions document that I have in my hand is what I read, which says raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or borrow a maximum sum of $8,000. We heard at that long meeting on the 27th that we cannot raise and appropriate because we don't have a funding source.
I don't disagree with you. But what I'm
So-
saying is, but that motion document can change between now and the time, I mean, we can change anything we wanna change, that part. The warrant you can't change.
I'm not saying change the warrant, I'm saying I would wait until I would like to table our recommendation until we see the final motion document so that we're making the recommendation based upon truly what is gonna be said. Because
So we
what
have
if
to
it
have
says,
another meeting before then
even if
to
we
do
do,
it.
you're right, or even if we do it right before the meeting.
But in all
well,
fairness,
go
you
ahead,
don't
I'm
ever
sorry.
make recommendations based on the motions document. You make it based on the warrant, and the warrant says either or. It doesn't say both, because technically speaking, I could not get the motions document back from town council until November 16th. I didn't get the warrant back from them until this afternoon, right before it had to be posted. So I feel like that's maybe not the most reliable plan based having to leave it in town council's hands.
Well, we'd have it right before the meeting. Because my only concern is right now it says, we're gonna be voting we vote based upon the motions document because that's got the dollar figures in it and how we're gonna spend it. So what happens if we vote based upon this and our whole thing is we're gonna borrow 800,000? Then somewhere along the line, hold on, then it changes and now all of a sudden we're gonna yank $800,000 out of stabilization. If the motion document changes, our recommendation could change.
I'm
Correct, that's
confused,
correct.
though, because the motions document, I happened to write it up, but it's not usually written by this point. I only did it for the purpose of providing the dollar amounts because the warrant doesn't have that. So in my experience, the committee has made recommendations based on what's on the warrant, not the motion that's being read on the floor.
We've always had the motions document.
Okay.
We've always had the motions document because that's the one with the dollar figures.
Yeah, but
And
we're
how
just
we're
using that to
specifically-
work from, is the point, that's the point, we're just using that to work from.
I
The
agree.
wording can change up till somebody makes the motion.
Okay.
Well, okay.
And
If I may.
Well, I have more concerns just than I mean, I just asked,
Yep.
what's the specific plan? There's a whole bunch of questions that go with this, a lot of questions.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who weren't here last week, I specifically stated, and this is coming off of Joe's comment, that we
Yeah.
don't budget anything in the town budget to maintain any property we have.
Right.
So if we can't even maintain the property we have, purchasing new property, how do you maintain that? I mean, there's a lot of questions and a lot of, I mean, if
Right.
spending money on something that we don't even, again, we don't maintain the things we have, so this money could be spent to maintain the things we have as opposed to buying new things.
Right, and are we gonna get a report or something on the condition? I mean, I've heard though, and again, this is just what I've heard, is the buildings are in pretty poor shape. So what are we're gonna buy the land, or we're just gonna tear them down? I don't think we're not gonna use a wooden old house structure.
much you're gonna be able to do with
I
it.
understand what Gary just said, we're not gonna use a barn for anything down there.
Probably not.
99.9% we're not.
Tommy, we've got 30 days to go through the appraisal process because the clock is ticking.
No, I understand what you're saying, I understand all those things.
All right,
And I would hate for a complex to go in there too, or a building development as much. I don't want that either, but at a certain point, you have to understand your limits and what your financial
Exactly.
limits are. And I think that the town is well past its financial limits, as we don't have enough money in the current budget any year that I've seen. So to spend more on stuff to have more assets does not seem like a good decision.
But I think all of this is saying is we're allowing him to enter into a conversation with them they have to get an appraisal and things like that. So we're not saying what they're gonna do on the floor. We don't know. And they're not certainly gonna have a price by the time that this comes up.
We're saying that they can borrow and or raise and appropriate
Right.
and or any other way up to a maximum of $800,000
No, we are giving
for
them
this
the right
property.
to-
That's what this says, and
raise
what
money
we
for
do,
this
correct.
money. Yeah.
So how does this work?
But-
So the clock is ticking, so we've formally received that document.
I got a quick question. When this type of a thing comes up, don't the selectmen have the right or the responsibility also to do the negotiation or find out all the information about what's going on before with some kind of a plan to present it? I mean, I think there's gonna be 1,000 questions from people.
There's no way this is gonna get voted.
If I may, the way that the process works is we received formal notification by certified mail on October 31st. The clock starts one day after they put that document in the mail. So the clock started October 29th. If we would like to exercise our right of first refusal, you have 30 days to deliver an appraisal to the property owner.
An appraisal,
An appraisal.
okay?
From the start date, from the date that you receive it, you have 120 calendar days to either waive or exercise your right of first refusal, which will bring us to February 26th, 2023. The way that the process works is that the select board would have to hold a public hearing on the matter. The Conservation Commission, the Planning Board, the DCR Forestry Division, and the Assessor's Office all have to
Commission.
receive, no, they are not under MGL required to receive the document. But we did share it with them out of courtesy to do that. They all are allowed to provide their input to the select board as well. The select board ultimately has the final decision of whether or not that they want to try to pursue purchasing the property. The way this all happened was it just happens to be that the timing of it is that this is the only opportunity we'll have to secure the funding. So if we can't secure the funding, then the board will have no choice but to waive their right of first refusal. If the town passes this article, then the board has a decision of whether or not they want to waive it or exercise it. Does that make sense?
Yes, but
Yeah, but doesn't make sense to me that they can't go through that process. You gotta review the property and what's there and find out what other people are thinking before you can make a decision.
So I don't want to speak on behalf of Becky, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Becky, but if this passes and the town authorizes us to borrow the money and we go through the process and it falls through or we just can't come to an agreement, then nothing happens. This would then get rescinded at a future town meeting. The borrowing wouldn't happen. There would be no harm, no foul. It doesn't have any effect on the process itself other than giving the town an option to exercise that right, because we would have funds to pay for it.
But if you go to the town meeting with this and there's a lot of questions that don't get answered and it gets voted down, then you can't even go any further.
Right? Unfortunately, we're bound by the time frame of
No, I understand,
town
but
meeting.
To
Is there a reason why you couldn't have another town meet? Once you get some of these answers, isn't that what the 120 days is there for? So you could call a town meeting to vote on this?
We had the same problem come last year, right before the annual town meeting for the other piece of property.
Well, yeah, but
And nobody jumped through any hoops for that.
nobody did anything about it, is the way I understood, not understood it, but saw it.
The timing was everything on this one, where it's like, oh, we knew it's kind of coming, and we know we're trying to keep open space, because that was in a big outcry the last time. So we were trying to come up with a way to actually facilitate.
Okay, so going back to my original question, Gary, does anybody have a listing of the properties that we own?
We have that in town hall, I don't have, obviously.
No,
don't have
okay,
it.
but-
Yeah.
Do we have, because at Rutland Heights, how many acres are we selling to Harbor Homes?
32.
32 of the best ones out of 88, so there's still
You could build a
Plant
dispatch.
land up there
we
to
could buy
do
a
things
We
on.
could place a dispatch center there.
Well, sure, that's what was talked about years ago. But anyways, but you could do other things there. I know there's land around the schools that we own that could be used. Yes, you'd have to adjust the agreement with the schools, but there's land available there. What other places do we own? I know this has come up numerous times in the past. Same question, same thing comes up, and I know there's some of the parcels are not usable, or they're out in over here or way out over there, so they wouldn't make a lot of sense. I don't disagree with that, but have we analyzed that? So do we really?
This was.
I understand that people
This
want
was put on
open
as an
space. I
article
like
before we
open
had
space, but
the official notification.
the town has what, at least a third, if not more, of the town is open space already because we can't use it.
We do not have, we're gonna be borrowing. We haven't told, I haven't seen it unless it went up late in the afternoon. There wasn't the tax calculator on there.
So the tax calculator doesn't really apply in this situation, because we're not putting it onto the tax. There's nothing that's gonna go on the tax rate. We're
This
just kind
year.
of- It's not, because again, if you read my email,
I did.
there has to be a commitment. So this 800,000, the plan is to borrow this 800,000, and when the sale of the Harbor Classic Homes goes through in Rutland Heights, we'd have a commitment to use that free cash to pay that off. The only cost to the taxpayers is the interest on that 1-year borrowing. So a tax calculator would be, if you put 800,000 and how much it's gonna add, we're not gonna add that. We're gonna have $14,000 additional in our FY24 budget.
And if we
With this
had,
plan.
if we had that $1.3 million in hand, I'd be all for it.
Right.
But we don't have that.
Right.
And
So
we
that's
won't
another thing.
have it by
Right.
November
Which
17th.
in my email, I said, there's two things that have to happen
Right.
for this to work, for both of
Yep.
these options to work. Is
Right.
that sale has to go through within 120 days when this clock is ticking, because we're gonna use that money to pay this debt off. And everybody has to be on board to use that money to pay this debt off.
The whole
Exactly.
town has to be on board.
Exactly.
The whole town
And
has to-
this is at a special town meeting where we get lower attendance than we do at the annual town meeting to use something that has been in discussions for well over a year.
So the other question too is, I asked this last Thursday, or whatever it was we met, last Thursday. So, 1.3 million they were supposed to get from selling the property. This is 800,000. Now, how much was left on what we owe on that property right now?
We have 2 payments left.
I know you said this, but I didn't write it down, so. I mean,
300,
I think it was around 350,
For that-
Becky.
325.
112 and 112, what's that?
224.
Thanks, 224.
So we owe $225,000 still.
So really, if we spent the 800, we'd have about 275 left over of that 1.3.
And the same thing I said last Thursday, I'm gonna say it again, is we have requests from DPW and other departments for capital equipment. They haven't been able to buy for years. We got, just what you said a few minutes ago, we got a lot of other needs. My 2 cents is, we get that money that we sell, we're coming out on the plus side, thank God with the Rutland Heights property, after we've invested it and we've all paid our taxes to pay it off, now we could buy some of this capital stuff and buy two or three dump trucks, or the road sweep that he says doesn't work right, all these other things, and those aren't cheap items.
That adds up fast. I mean, the total, we did that plan, 2 years ago or a year ago, that shows how much it would cost to make all the necessary upgrades for all the town buildings.
Yep.
And that was, I don't know the number, and if somebody
It's
does,
very
then throw
large.
it out there, but
Oh yeah,
I
the
mean,
town, yeah.
that would make a great chunk of, a great portion towards that.
Of neglected maintenance that
Right.
should be done is right. Well, that's just a comment.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I'm.
Like I said, I'm not disagreeing with it. It's nice to have spots in open air, but we also have other responsibilities for the town that should be taken care of.
Yeah.
If I can just comment on that, my charge was to find a way, this opportunity is coming up to preserve open space. Can we buy it? How can we do this if we wanted to? So these are the options of how we
Right.
can do it.
Yeah, I understand,
I'm
yeah.
not saying one way or the other whether we
Yep.
should, but I've provided two options as to how to preserve the open space and buy this.
But by
property.
taking that amount of money out of our stabilization,
I don't-
that would hurt
I-
our,
Yeah,
that would hurt our bond rating, wouldn't it?
right, but we don't get a bond rating till we go out to actually borrow. So that other commitment is to put it back. With
So-
free cash.
And I agree,
So basically,
but-
you're spending $800,000 of your free cash, next year's free cash, to buy this property.
Which could be 100% of it.
So basically, if I trying to wrap my head around this, we would be saying with this article that if the town voted to do it, we would charge you or whoever to go ahead and try and make it happen. It might not happen just because
Right.
a whole lot of reasons.
Yep.
But if we said, if you found a way to make it happen, does it still then have to come before a town meeting and get approved to say, actually go ahead and spend the money?
So this would, if you're gonna do it as a borrowing, this would authorize me to borrow the money if it came to fruition. If it didn't come to fruition, I'm still authorized to borrow the money, but if we never buy it, if the whole deal falls through, we go back to, or at the annual town meeting, and I rescind, do an article to rescind the borrowing that was
Right.
authorized, so I don't have that authorization anymore.
But basically, if this goes to the town, this gets approved, then it's just up to the selectmen to do whatever they're doing, and they can do whatever they want. And the town doesn't have any say once that happens.
Correct.
Whether they want to
As long as
purchase
it's
it or
at
not.
least
Correct.
800
this-
or lower.
But
Right.
in
What the
fairness,
process
that's
is.
but in fairness, that's the process that's always followed. So hypothetically speaking, if we had the money already,
They could
it
do
would
it,
still happen the same way. That it would be up to the decision of the select board.
but they'd have to go through us again.
Well, that's go through the
But
town, yeah.
but if they came to terms on all this, whatever the agreement, they get the appraisals, they get the property appraisals, they get the a review of the property to see what's there, to know what would you. I mean, you don't go buy a house without looking at it and come up with your whatever you're going to do, right?
I mean, I'd be surprised if the town would be okay with this without having any real information.
That's what I'm saying. And
So,
other towns do this. You read in the paper all the time. There's towns that buy this on, and at least I've read the paper on a regular basis, probably more than I probably should, but they go through these processes, and when they've got all the answers, then they go and they ask, can we borrow? We've done X, Y, Z. Can we borrow the money to do this? Do the townspeople want to do it?
So,
The challenge is the clock. The challenge
No,
is
I
the
understand
timeframe on
that,
this
but
one.
how do other towns do it then? How do other towns go through this process and get it done?
It may not be that they're buying Chapter 61 land.
Yes, no, I'm talking about the one that Chapter 61 land, Chapter 61A or whatever it is. Yes. I'm not sure if it was Grafton or Millbury, somebody down there just, they had talked about it for over a year. I mean, I don't know how they got extensions, I understand the timeframes and what you said, but when they finally said, okay, blah, blah, we're gonna do this, and then they finally went to the town, and I could be off with a few of those times, but,
I'd like to see an appraisal.
well, they
Yeah, we're
gotta have
working
an
on that right
appraisal
now.
before you can buy it.
Yep.
They can't do it without an appraisal.
Yeah.
We have until November 28th to deliver the appraisal, and I'm currently steadfastly working on finding somebody that can do it within that time frame.
The other funding option that other towns may have is the CPA, Community Preservation Act, where it puts a certain amount on everyone's tax, like 1% or 0.5% of your tax rate goes into a Community Preservation Act fund, where these situations will come up and you'll have money to.
But again, the town votes to take money out of that and go
Right.
towards the purchase.
That's what I'm saying, you still gotta jump through the hoops and then ask the townspeople, do you wanna buy this property with the money you put aside from your taxes for that purpose?
And nowhere in this motion does it say, and your commitment tonight would be to use any potential monies coming in from the sale of RDIC will have to go to pay this.
Right, that would have to be explained to the people. But that motion is just
Yeah.
a placeholder. It's not a set motion
That's
yet.
explained in the explanation.
I get it.
So
but
before
you
the
agree-
17th, we either need to say we recommend favorably or we recommend unfavorably. And what you're saying is we should wait until
The motion
some other
is-
time so that this comes back written the way it's finally gonna look.
Right.
That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Because right now, there's a lot of upended in here, because we can't raise and appropriate, so that can be removed. A transfer from available funds and/or borrow. I'd like to know that we're going to transfer from available funds, or we're going to borrow. Not, I'd like to know exactly where it's coming
So your
from.
motion is no action, right?
My action is,
Motion is no
my
action.
motion was to table it
Right,
until
so no
such time
action,
as.
right? So I second that.
Not no action, table
Right.
it, which means we haven't made it a recommendation, we'll make a recommendation at a later time.
Okay, second.
Because we need a lot more information. I agree with that.
Okay, any other discussion?
Can I just ask, like, does this board have a preference of whether to borrow or transfer from stabilization?
Oh.
I'm with you, John.
I think
No,
if
don't
we-
touch
if we borrow from
stabilization. We
stabilization, that
finally
would
got it
really
up
screw
there.
us up.
You start taking from stabilization, and the thing is
Right.
we better be sure, because we have to go back to a town meeting next year and say, out of this 1.3, we want to take the 800 and pay off that borrowing. If something else happens and the town decides to go somewhere else, this is gonna hit taxpayers. Because there's
and-
no guarantee
Yeah.
that the same people are gonna show up, and they could say, we need a dump truck, we need a fire truck, we need whatever. We need to plant new bushes at the library.
And even if the same people show up, they could change their mind. and
Exactly,
say,
because
"No,
of some other things. And we
It's just
haven't
very
given
risky.
them the choice. The way we're making this is, don't worry, it's not gonna hit your
That's
taxes.
what I was
But is
just
there
gonna
a way
ask.
to come up with a
What's that?
document
Or sell off
to
half
let
Sell
everybody
it.
know?
Well,
for the
If we
800,000.
borrowed 800,000.
If it's worth it. I wanna see what the
effect
appraisal
does that
says.
have on
Exactly.
the tax
So we
The
don't do
better,
that.
the
on each
better
individual
thing is
person?
that
Which is
this is
why
good
I asked
property for
For
the
the tax
town.
calculation.
But
We
I
should
think
look at
that's
what we
gonna
should
take-
have,
'cause that won't
and should
happen
have done this
right
probably
away.
years
That
ago.
won't-
It won't
Looked at
happen
what
right
other
away.
property
We'll
we
roll it
have
over
and looked
to the
at
next
selling
year.
that,
But
so that we
the
have the
thing,
money to buy
but by
something
the
like
time
this
we
when it
done
comes up.
this, they voted it in, they need to understand, this is what it would
We're
be.
not
up every
obligated
time.
to spend the 800
All of these things
either.
don't
No, I understand that. I understand what you're saying.
To someone sitting on a
There's no
fixed
way it's gonna
income,
pass.
But if we
Who- this is
recommend
a
we vote this,
wonderful
then
thing.
it's there, they can
but
be,
they
it can be
can't
borrowed.
afford the extra, how
With-
many
with
ever
the treasurer
dollars it
and the
is to the
selectmen
tax.
approving, it could be
That's my
borrowed,
whole
and we're
thing.
stuck with it.
Everyone
We
was
don't
all
have any
for it, and
answers.
then I've been waiting, and I'm like, okay,
also
so we're
doesn't
not
matter.
gonna get that.
There's
Well,
no
we're
way
not
to
gonna
pass.
worry about
I
it.
don't think it was.
You gotta worry about it.
Would we be
because
able to get-
if the town doesn't vote, if this town meeting vote next year for free cash, if the sale happens, if catastrophe doesn't happen, this is gonna hit their taxes.
And then that's when we present it to them, like, okay, this, if you don't vote this to from free cash, then that's when we present it to them.
But by then, we've already borrowed the money.
Right.
Right.
That's my
It's
whole
no
thing.
longer their
That's
choice.
putting the cart before the horse. This is telling them, here's what it is. We plan, we're going to present it as such that we're gonna use this and we're gonna use this. However, if that doesn't pass on town floor, this is what the dollar will be on your tax bill.
Right.
Yes, sir?
Will we have an appraisal before the town meeting?
No, that's what you were
Yes,
just
that,
saying.
yep. That is what I am working on right now. We have to have an appraisal delivered in hand to the property owner by November 28th. So I am doing my very best to make sure that is going to happen. So yes, there is a possibility that we could have that within the next 2 weeks. I can't guarantee it, but it's not an absolute no either because of the time restraint we're under.
All right, so here's another question. So free cash hasn't been certified yet. If free cash isn't certified, we can't have a town meeting.
That is correct.
If we don't have a town meeting, then what happens to this?
Well, town meeting would be postponed to a date within that 120 days. We have until February 26th.
Go ahead, sir.
Can, I asked a question and Ted and I were talking back and forth. If the town enters into this, and can we sell this, the town? Can we sell it, if we...
1 year, 5 year, 10 years from now.
Oh, sure you could. Why couldn't
Okay.
you?
So
As long
why
as-
couldn't-
Well, hold on a minute
as long
now.
as the town voted to do it.
Hold on a minute now, because there was a very small property, very teeny tiny property that the town owned over on Christmas Tree Lane, I believe, that a butter wanted to use to help with his drainage. The town, very, very small. And the selectmen refused to do anything because they'd have to put it out for requests for bid and all these kinds of things, and it was too
Right.
costly. So all I'm saying is now you gotta get the select board on board to sell it, so,
Well, right, but the town could sell it.
sure.
No, if I may, Madam Chair, that was a very, very different situation on Christmas Tree Lane. Because the part that was,
It was very small, but the
very
thing
small,
is,
but it was actually the original layout of Christmas Tree Lane. So, if something was developed behind that piece and we sold that, we no longer have access, so we couldn't connect. That being said, it doesn't matter.
everyone said it could have been sold, but the whole problem was the holdup for putting out believe me, I've been through
I
this
said
3
that,
times
okay.
over.
I said it couldn't have been sold.
And what I was told was we can't sell it because it has to go through RF this and RF that, and it's costly.
It does,
No.
it is.
And I understand that.
But
and all
because then you have the right to buy that property just as well as the other people do.
Exactly, yep.
Now, if I may, through the chair, to get back to this piece. This moved very quickly when I was approached and I had to act on it because we're required to. Moved very quickly on the initial acreage and price was different initially. So the initial price I got, not important now, it was less than what was offered. What was for the whole piece, 29 acres. So I was very enthusiastic about it because I thought we could do a lot of things for the town with it. Yes, it has to be appraised. Yes, you're absolutely right about all our other structures and facilities in town that need work. But we still had to act on this because we did get the offer from the owner, and we did, through the 61A process, and we also got with that, what offer was made on the property from the contractor. But it still had to be acted on. So I can't just sit there and not tell people what the possibilities are, so that's what I've done.
So, through the chair.
Yes.
So, they originally said 29. By the time it got to you, it's changed to 15.
Half the parcel.
And $200,000 more.
Hmm?
And $200,000 more.
It was, the whole, more than what was initially mentioned that could be available to the town. So less money, more land.
Why?
The original was more,
Why?
Because the contractor put that price in, and that's a bona fide offer, and that's what you have to go by. Then you have to get it appraised, like I've said, like certainly Kanika has said, within 30 days. We don't know if that's gonna happen.
Is the contractor that put the price in related to the person that's selling it?
nope.
No, sir.
No.
No. That information is on the website. It is a public document. It's on the select board
It was,
page.
also in stuff we handed, it was Mr. Susie. Mr.
Okay.
Susie.
All right. Well, Gary, what does your heart of heart say? Do you think the way it's going? Do you think I know we had to do this because the time and we had to act fast. Now that it's gone down to 15 and everything else, do you still feel that this is a good deal?
Honestly, not as good as I was initially told, and since that has happened, I have lost my enthusiasm for it.
Okay.
I was very enthusiastic when I was approached a couple of months ago.
So, yeah, okay,
I still don't want to see a whole bunch of buildings go up or house lot. I mean, I don't want to see that.
you tell me, you knew
But
that it
that's
went
not,
from
that's
29
up
to
to me. I mean,
15.
that falls under 55
And it was
plus.
$200,000. She just said it was $200,000 more gonna add it to it.
Just being honest with the committee.
That thing just came out while you were gone, that it went up 200,000 too, so.
But that's a bona fide offer that they have presented the town, so it's,
And it doesn't mean
somebody
you
could
can't
make
offer
that up.
less than that.
Now, does
Certainly.
that offer, let me ask a legal question. That offer of this 800,000 for that piece of property, does it have to sell for 800,000?
No.
no, that's why they gotta get the appraisal.
No, but say they say, I still want 800,000. Is there a way to, say the purchaser wants to pay 800,000?
Get 800,000.
I don't
So
know.
if out of so what you're saying is out of the kindness of his heart, let's say, he decides he'd rather have the town, if the town wants it, makes an offer of 500,000 in order to preserve that land and give it to the town, could he accept that $500,000 offer?
They
Yes.
could accept it, sure.
Yes, you could.
Yes.
Yep.
We did ask town council, we do not have to match the offer that was made.
But,
They just have to have a bona fide offer as part of the process.
so is there anything
That's
to
why you
say?
need the appraisal, so you know what you're talking about.
Right, which is what we're doing
Right.
now.
I guess where I'm going with this, so we offer 550. And they have to take it?
Nope.
No.
No,
Oh, so, but they can sell it to the builder for 450.
I don't know
No,
about
it's a
that.
bona fide offer. That's a legal document. Bona fide offer
Yeah.
is $800,000.
With the deposit and everything like that from a contractor too.
I guess I'm trying to say that it could still be a little bit of. It's a offer, but
Could the deal fall through in 3 or 4 months from now? Maybe, I don't
and then the
know.
offer go to less than this.
Go right ahead.
That's what the question, the other question I had was, do we have a real estate lawyer? Do we have somebody that knows this law, that knows what
Yes.
to advise us? Or
Yeah.
Yes.
The
I mean-
KP laws.
from KP Law, somebody that's versed in this kind of real estate transactions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because like I said, there's a lot of towns that are involved with them, and other towns seem to go through the process.
Do we know why it went from 29 to 15?
You know what, I can't answer that. My assumption is, honestly, that the other 15 is behind 2 houses of the landowners. Maybe they don't care to have that piece developed for recreation or otherwise.
That's true, the way that.
Just my assumption.
That makes sense.
So they're just not selling that
Piece at this
Now.
time.
at this time.
They would
I
have
can't,
to.
I'm not saying that's set in concrete, I just have to go what's on the paper. From the layout of the land, it does border the school, but from the layout of the land, that's.
So is the land that's in there landlocked? This other 15 acres?
It will be.
They'll have to submit.
But it would still be owned, Darren, by that other piece would remain in the ownership of those other 2 property owners.
Which are the people that are selling the property?
So it can be, it won't be landlocked.
Right, and if they got a big enough piece of property, they can subdivide and put a road right up in it.
Right. All right. Good, Karen, make your motion.
I did.
We have a
Did,
motion and
I
a second.
seconded.
Yeah, it's motion and seconded to table.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call vote to table this to a later date?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye. Ross, aye.
Oh, and I.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, Article 23 is to, I'm not gonna read this whole thing, because we've read this so many times. It's to do Sedona Circle and Woodside Ave, which is Bryce Estates Phase 1. It is the street that we approved last year at the annual town meeting, but
Didn't get this.
paperwork wasn't filed. Isn't that, the paperwork wasn't filed appropriately? Okay.
And they said everything here was okay now? Gary?
Everything was okay last year. The town approved it.
Yes.
I thought the town meeting voted it down.
Yeah, the town meeting voted them down.
Yeah, the town meeting voted something down for the roads.
There's been 2 meetings. The first one, it passed, but the proper paperwork was not filed.
Right.
Last town meeting, it failed because of some misinformation that was shared by residents. Since that time, the town's third-party engineer, Quinn Engineering, has gone back just to make sure that everything is still in order. They've provided that information to the planning board. The planning board made their recommendation in support based on that information, as did the select board during a public hearing.
And this is now Article 23?
Yes.
Because it's good. I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on Article 23.
Second.
Any discussion?
Do we, I thought we normally had no action on roads.
No. We've the only time we ever do no action is a citizen's petition.
Okay.
Well, we did it.
We could vote no action
Right.
on this if we wanted, but the only time in my years here that we've ever just flat out voted no action is a citizen's petition.
Okay.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte, aye.
Ross, aye.
Oh, and I.
Narwhal die. 24, which is Oakley Ave and a portion of Woodside Ave, which is part of Bryce Estates Phase 2. Same story.
Is this the same
Same
situation,
story.
right?
Yes.
Yep.
I make a motion that we recommended the town to vote favorably on this article, Article 24.
Second.
No, wait, is it 20? Yeah.
24.
24, yep.
Yeah.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Michelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
Oh, and I.
Narwhal die. Article 25. To approve the dedication of the intersection of Glenwood Road and Campbell Street as the Fred and Shirley Warren Square, as shown in the handout entitled Proposed Plan for Dedication.
Aye. Really?
Is this the one we do no action on?
No, this is not, this is
Select board.
Select Board's bringing this forward.
Of course it is.
Yeah, do we have any up or down on this? I mean, I don't really see why we have to say anything on this, but,
We have to make a recommendation
Oh, I
on
know.
every part.
well, let's recommend no action.
Make the motion.
We can do whatever we want. It's crazy.
Considering part of the handout is a flagpole that we're not gonna, it's not gonna cost the town any money until it starts to cost the town.
Well, there's no money attached to this, right?
There is not right now
Okay.
until
Until
it does.
Till it's
So-
a maintenance issue.
Exactly.
So what we're starting to do for discussion.
Yep.
And Fred and Shirley were very nice people. I knew them both very well. I picked Fred up out of his garden several times over the years when he fell down. I don't have any problem with this, but we're setting the precedence that if you have enough time, we can name Rochelle Square over there on Maple Avenue, Ross Square down there. We can name Purcell Ave over there. It's kind of getting out of. Yes, we can put
You
that.
can have a mow it too, it's okay.
Just making sure you don't leave.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
Mud bend. That's what it's gonna be,
The bend.
bend.
They said the other night that they were coming up with a set of guidelines for this stuff. That's what they're gonna do?
The policy currently exists that says that it has to pass at town meeting. The policy says a 2/3 vote. Legal clarified that it has to be a majority vote,
Well, that
because
makes
it's not a
sense.
zoning bylaw change. So there technically is a policy that exists, but there's going to be more added to it after this experience.
There was some missteps handled. So instead of having this be a citizen's petition, the select board stepped up and said they would put this forward.
So, all right, where does it end? We all have two benches on the common.
Everybody gets a trophy.
That's right.
Everybody's gonna
We have two benches on the common. We have a gravestone down the beginning of Plaisdale Road. Now we're gonna have a flag going up here. I mean,
And a
look,
stone, but it won't be a gravestone.
Are you
there
sure?
won't be a gravestone.
He's
Is it
assured
gonna be
at
the
a
rock?
select board
It's gonna
meeting,
be
it would
the
not be a
rock?
gravestone.
Who's this, Mike doing this, Sosis?
But you're right, it's gonna continue, but if there's no regulations and no guidelines for it, but,
There are guidelines. There are guidelines.
yeah, but you just said all it takes is a vote.
It has to go, previously, it didn't have to go before the town at all. And the most recent policy that was adopted, when Ron was still here, said that it has to go to the town to be approved. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
but
like
who,
the
okay, so who adopted that policy?
select board did.
But the townspeople didn't vote for that.
Right, so I guess my point is, when Ralph Anderson Square was done, at that time, the policy didn't exist, so the select board was the discretionary, and they approved for that to happen. Now they've taken it a step further to say, if you want to dedicate something, it has to get approved by the town, not just the select board.
I know, but, okay, we have town bylaws, so why wouldn't that become I'm not
Yeah.
saying anything to you, I'm just saying things. Why wouldn't a policy like that have to go before the town meeting to let the townspeople, maybe the townspeople don't want their property designated as something like that. You know,
Well,
I'm just saying,
I think that's why it's going to the town to begin
it
with.
should be, well, okay,
That's
but
what it
anyways.
is. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, to go to the town, it seems like appropriate.
He did have a
Absolutely.
picture, we did get a copy of that, didn't we, in our
Who
first
brought-
draft one?
Who
Huh?
brought this in?
Mr. Canacchioli.
Really?
And once it's put on the town meeting floor, who's gonna vote, I mean, you're gonna be a real heel if you
I
vote
mean, really,
against it.
Karen, you've been here
I'm not
longer
that-
than me.
I agree with you, I'm not that I'm against it, I just
You could
think,
dedicate something to him and then he'll stop. Maybe.
I just don't get, all right. Well,
Sorry, I hope you.
I'm neutral, I'd rather defer just to the town meeting, but. let
I mean,
them
if they're
vote.
putting in policy after this that's going to make more stringent rules on this, then it seems like, because that's where it stops. It's stopping now.
There's not gonna be more stringent rules, there's just gonna be
Right,
more steps for them to do it. There
and that
isn't-
should be
Well,
voted
we
on by the
should jump through.
townspeople, not
Which
the
is going to
selectmen.
anyway. But that's
Alex,
the point.
we got a sign over there on Palmagussit Road dedicated to two people. It's we named the road, or we dedicated the road to these two people,
And some trees and some benches.
and some bench and stuff like this, and it just never ends, right? If you have money,
Because it
you
was
can
the
get what
tree.
you want.
Then it was the
Right.
bench.
Well, that's life.
Well, it is life, but it doesn't have to be my life.
No, you have to be dead first.
No. But I have to be able.
No,
you don't.
Mr. Anderson's still around.
Oh,
But we gave him
all
a
right, my
gravestone.
apologies.
We gave him a gravestone down there just in case he dies.
He did swear that it would not be a gravestone this time.
He's already got one.
And he's working to fix Anderson Square as well.
Because they spelled things wrong again.
Um,
God.
okay.
a motion?
No, we do
Somebody
not.
suggested no action, but no motion.
So do I want to get a motion here? On this wonderful piece of real estate?
Do we want to take no action?
I thought you said we can't.
We can vote no action if we want, but it's not an automatic no action. We have to vote it and do all that. Usually it's an automatic no action. We don't really have any discussion when it comes to a citizen's petition, typically.
So this is sort of.
So
a
we're gonna
citizen's
be asked then to explain to the town meeting why we voted no action.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna
Sure.
crucify.
Which,
Oh yeah, we're gonna listen to Louis get up there and get all in your face because we don't go his way, threatening and everything else.
which our
I just hit. the-
no action would be
would set him
We just
right
don't
off.
have an opinion, or what?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
We're putting it in the hands of the
Town.
townsfolk.
So one reason to vote against it would be because we fear it will eventually become a burden of maintenance and money for the town.
Yes.
I don't
Having a flagpole to me means you are going to have maintenance because you're going to now have to
It's a
watch.
snowplow target.
Okay, forgetting that, I'm thinking just the
Paint.
flag on top
The
of
flag,
it is
the
going to
paint.
need to be watched and all of that and
It's got to have a light if it's going to be up 24
all
hours.
of that stuff.
Anyway,
The cars that hit it when they're trying to make that corner.
so if we vote in favor of it, then we're just saying
Yes.
just go for it.
Yeah. Who's gonna take
I like
the
no
flag
action.
down?
Then it's not our problem.
Like who raises
And we can
Or we
justify
weren't-
it with
we weren't
the.
complicit.
It's not going to be
It's
raised.
gonna
We don't have, yes, we don't have any dogs in this
What
fight.
kind of flag?
We
I make a
I-
motion that we
ask Mr.
defer.
Canacchioli. He lives at 18 Blueberry Lane. Feel free to swing by. He'd be
That's
more than
the-
happy to talk to you about it.
No, thanks.
I recommend that I
Take
vote,
no action.
I mean, I move that we
You picked on
recommend
me a
at the
minute ago.
town meeting that we
That the
defer
town vote.
to, we defer to the town meeting body for action on this article.
We have no choice in the matter. We have three choices, remember?
Take
No, we
action.
don't. Why don't-
Favorable, Tommy,
I
we're
don't-
not having this argument. I talked to the lawyer. Favorable, unfavorable, no action.
No
We're
action.
not having this
Why
discussion.
don't we just say no action?
She told me. And it's not what's in our bylaws, so.
I got it in writing
Good.
from the lawyer.
How about no action? Same thing.
I'll take my motion back, forget it.
I make a motion that we recommend no action on this article.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote?
Winika, yay.
Purcell, aye.
Charlotte abstain.
Okay.
Ross. Aye.
Oh, would I?
Now roll on. Okay. Amend the
Get ready
town's
for a fight.
Amend the town's zoning bylaw by adding Article 3 use regulations, subsection
He's such an
10A C2 special permit uses in village center
Say that
districts,
out loud.
non-residential uses,
Probably.
new principal category H, automobile sales and repair and motorcycle sales and repair as set forth in the handout. This is
Does this keep coming back?
Yeah.
at the last town meeting was a citizen's petition. It's gone through the planning board. It was an omission by the planning board. They put it in the village district, but not the center district, or no, they put it in the center district, but not the village.
Right.
And the planning board.
Planning
approved this
board
and approved it.
Has agreed, has had the town, the public hearings, everything is through, no problems.
I make a motion that we recommend to the town to vote favorably on this article.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote?
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle.
Oh, Rochelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
Oh, would I?
No, hold on. Okay. This is a new one
Yeah.
that came up on Tuesday.
We come up on Tuesday.
Wait a minute, I thought that couldn't
Hold on, take a deep breath.
They told me last week that couldn't happen.
This is a housekeeping error that the lawyer found. And it is because back in 2007, when we changed from the 3 to a 5-person select board meeting, we needed to go to get a special legislation. We never did it.
That's odd.
And there's fear of
God, politics.
problems. So,
We think that the person that wants to do this could have a problem with this.
sure, somebody could sue the
Who's
town.
gonna loan them the money to do anything with it?
What, sue the town?
Yeah,
Anybody can sue the town.
yeah, but he's gotta have some money to do that.
Sure. Believe me, I said it. I said, the state's not gonna care what we've done, but, that's okay. I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to petition the general court for special legislation for the purpose of formalizing the town's previous vote to create a 5-member Board of Selectmen and to address related issues, all as set forth in the handout, Article number 27, and to authorize the general court to make changes of form only to the bill unless authorized by the Board of Selectmen, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to approve such revisions as may be within the public purpose of the petition. The lawyers, this is,
Was this on last week?
no, this is brand new as of Tuesday. Peter didn't write this. This whole handout is all done by the lawyer. It was sent by the lawyer to us. They found it when they were reviewing some of the,
Is that handout in the ones you sent out? Is that, you said the handout, where's the
Yes.
handout?
I included it with the email that I sent.
Oh, that's why I don't have it in print.
Tommy, I will know to print it for you next time.
Thank you.
Okay?
I'll be over tomorrow morning to get them.
Okay. I won't be there, but you can come in if you
All
want
right.
it should
Jared
be,
will print it for
it
me.
should be on
hall
file
will
with
be
the town
locked
clerk, right?
Yep.
So go to the town clerk. Oh, she's closed too on Fridays. You're
Yeah,
allowed.
it's
She's
closed
here
tomorrow.
12 to,
Tomorrow night? Oh,
she's
yeah.
here 12 to 5 tomorrow for early
I'll get it
voting,
next
though.
week.
Early voting.
So people that we pay the better part of $300 an hour are telling us we need to do this? Is that what I'm getting?
That is correct.
Yes.
So
Make
lawyers
a
said
motion.
so.
I
This
make a
is-
motion that we vote favorably on,
Recommend favor.
recommend favorably on Article 27.
Second.
Okay.
Third.
Okay, any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Charlie,
Ross, aye.
Vote
Narwhal, aye. Article
I was reading
28
the next one.
is a citizen's petition.
Is this new too?
No,
No.
we've had this.
we didn't have this last Thursday night.
Yes, we did.
We
Yes,
did.
we did.
It didn't get addressed by this.
Because the select board has to place it. Citizen's petition is legally required to be
Oh,
placed. And that's what they said the last. So it's to amend the town of Rutland zoning bylaw by amending Article 12 marijuana establishment, Section 6C, to allow a state licensed marijuana establishment, LME, to seek and be granted a special permit. You know, the rest of the stuff that's written.
And
So
we
why-
take no action on this article.
Why would we not let this go to Pete's thing that we're giving him $2,000 for?
This is a zoning bylaw, it doesn't go to Pete, it goes to the planning board, which handles all zoning bylaws.
Yeah, and it's a citizen's petition.
It's got nothing to do with us, so no action, right?
It's a citizen's petition, and our history is, we as a finance committee
I
is.
second Tom's motion.
But we gotta explain that, we're at on the town meeting floor, so that people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I have no issue in explaining, and I think
Right.
we would explain it that it's a citizen's petition.
Correct.
It hasn't gone through the committees and
Correct.
all of that, and that's usually how we explain it. Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call,
Winika, aye.
Purcell, aye.
Rochelle, aye.
Ross, aye.
Vote
Narwhal, aye.
Motion to close the meeting?
Adjourn, you have to say adjourn.
Adjourn.
Thank you all very much. I want to say.
Do I have a second?
Second, sorry.
Okay. Roll call.
Oh, Winika, aye.
Can we
Purcell,
stop
aye.
we getting
Charlie,
recorded?
Well, that's this. How'd you say Ross, aye?
Ross, aye.
Vote aye.
Narwhal, aye. Okay, we are adjourned.